Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Type 40 Live. We've made it. We've made it through. We've broken the seal of Rassilon, the seal of Omega, the seal of seals, and here we are. So, yeah, rules aren't meant to be broken. Even the rules of YouTube. Never mind time, Charlotte, and we've all sort of huddled back here already from across the globe. Right, where we're going to start with this one. I know we've got a live chat full of comments already. We have done this before, but not very often. I am kind of buzzing because I don't know where to start.
Pick any of the random nonsense pieces and just start there.
Bowler, don't we? Because let's throw the format out the window. Let's just see where we go. Because there's very few publicity. There was no information. We've just had 65 minutes worth of Doctor Who thrown at the screen.
Well, 65 minutes is something.
Something or other.
I feel like I've got trapped wind.
We'll set it loose. We'll set it loose like an original sin. We'll set it loose on the rest of the world. Matt's come Lord. As a Sith Lord. He's.
I told you, I'm in mourning. Okay.
Stay tuned, everybody. Matt's going to be giving into his anger in about an hour.
Yeah.
Just like Emperor Palpatine.
I'll behave myself because I'm a good boy,
folks.
This is Type 40. For Type 40 Live, a regular live stream that we've been doing on a Saturday, reacting to the new episodes, instant reactions, and this is about as instant as it can possibly get. We're going to let loose on this. I was going to say we're going to have a sort of party atmosphere, but it could be awake. I don't know. Gary, is that you want the sauce, mate, or is it non-alcoholics? It's middle of the afternoon for you, isn't it?
Well, ask that question again in about an hour.
Well,
okay, so some of us watched on Disney Plus, some of us have watched on BBC One. It's probably the same for you lot out there. Matt's actually paid for it. Have you got buyer's remorse now, mate?
Matt,
to be honest, to be honest, I have just watched one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever. And the Silurians were brilliant in it.
Well, then, did you get a receipt for your payment?
I literally watched Pertwee before I watched this.
This was
definitely some time. I was like, oh, this is so fucking good. Oh, this is brilliant. Now I'm sort of down a level now. But I was prepared for, I got myself up to a certain tier, so I was ready to go down.
The moment has been prepared.
When we last talked about this season, Gary, just a couple of days ago, you said how this season and this version of Doctor Who was full of sort of cotton candy ideas and wild notions and sort of cheese dreams and that kind of thing. And that statement of yours really did stay with me throughout the entire 65 minutes I spent watching this. And you think, well, I've got to go and talk about it with everybody else. Think, where on earth do we start? Obviously, we're going to have a few prompts over there from the live chat, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X. Everybody's going to let fly as well. But I've just got this sort of nervous laugh because I don't know what people are going to say.
Well, no, you're exactly right, because in response to what you just said, it was over an hour of just single one-line ideas tossed out with no need for, explaining them, tying them together. It was just one piece of spaghetti thrown at the TV wall after the other.
And also, you don't need to establish stuff in actual episodes anymore. You can just give us a montage of stuff that happened we didn't see.
That's right.
Yeah. And also,
for a major plot point, might I add?
One of the things I did notice was that I was waiting for the dance scene with the Mayday thing, and it didn't occur. So obviously that was thrown out there as a bit of a MacGuffin.
The dance,
red herring.
We got a dance scene.
No, the photo. There's an image,
scene,
the club scene with him and. Unless
that was the after party after filming wrapped.
Well, I'm sorry. This Regeneration felt so tacked on. It felt just out of nowhere. That's just in the script. There was a note that said, Shooty needs to go now.
There's a very good reason for that. It's exactly. But the thing is, though, Charlotte, the entire thing felt tacked on. So we've got half an hour's worth of story, and then there's another bit tacked on, and another bit tacked on, and then we'll bolt on this. Oh, and Shooty's going, so we'll bolt that on as well. I felt like I was watching something, a staggered drop of different episodes.
Yes.
Revolving around different.
And also, like, where was Susan? Like, we got that whole thread of Susan in Interstellar Song Contest. Find me. And then she even was doing press for this. So, but you know what we really needed, everybody? No. Do you know what we really needed? We really needed, instead of Susan and resolution and plot, we needed Jodie. We needed Rogue.
Oh, God.
That was Dan's favorite part.
We needed all that, but not Susan. Or maybe actually being on
nails
screen.
down the blackboard.
Charlotte, isn't a part of you? Because I know I was relieved that Susan didn't come back to be desecrated by RTD. I was very relieved at that.
Oh no, in like the outer context, I'm with you. But once again, I'm sorry. He was just jangling the keys of Susan again at us.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the same story, having the Doctor going on about his daughter when his actual granddaughter was nowhere to be seen on screen.
Serious question, Charlotte. Serious question. And I have in my notes.
You've made
why
notes?
why exactly did he regenerate? You can explain that, because I have
He
no
forced
idea.
himself to.
Yeah,
he forced himself to.
Why?
You can actually do it. It's like he's probably got hemorrhoids now because he's forced himself.
But why?
They are very painful. I can tell you that.
Because he couldn't shift. Okay, I'm making shit up now, but he couldn't shift like half a minute from the universe. So he had to force himself so that he could get Poppy back. He had to force himself so that he could shift it back a millisecond or whatever, so that it would be she would survive.
So now
I'm worried about the fact
and it was pointless anyway, because it was no relation to it.
We didn't see any of that happen. A couple of people told me over the last couple of days they noticed that Doctor Who was on. This is the first time in the 8 weeks that anybody's noticed Doctor Who's on. So
I've
Doctor Who's on. The season's finishing. Should I watch this? Should it be fun? And I thought, well, it's going to be a monumental episode. Maybe you should. And then I thought, what am I talking about? No. Somebody asked me, will it make any sense? No. First, it's the second of a two-part story. But to be honest, I saw last week's. I haven't got a clue what was going on either. So, I mean, if I was a normie watching this, you've got disappearing and reappearing people, magic doors, magic rings, magic babies. And heaven knows
montages.
It's
a montage. How many montages? I was getting a montage in my head. You know that song.
All in all, I would have rather watched Blankety Blank.
Wankety wank, more like, when it comes to.
I was watching it before I came on.
This is just.
I've got a question for you guys. Who had the more humiliating end, Omega or Rani? Which had the worst end of the deal?
You know what? I'm sorry. The only time I laughed was when when Mrs. Flood turned around and said, "Oh, that's the end of the two Ranis. It's good night from me."
Because Mark was our guest. Mark Baumgartner was our guest on Thursday's show. He cracked that gag, and then so that was quite. I won't say it was clever of Russell T Davies. Let's not get carried away. But it was knowing. Look, I'm very, very numb from that. I think I spent the entire time sort of clenched and braced. David,
what does this mean too?
Can I tell you where I am at?
It's the fun time going down.
I would like to say that I feel like I've gone to a car showroom, and I want a specific car, and I've seen all the lovely cars, and then I've been presented with a cut and shut between an Austin Allegro and a Reliant Robin. I feel that what we have had is like, basically, if Russell had a bad bout of diarrhea and Pebble dashed his toilet basin, I feel we have had that presented as the script for the show, because it is all over the goddamn place. Nothing made sense. I sat around, and the
To be
first
fair,
look
Doctor
at
Who
the
stopped
watch,
making sense a fair while ago, but yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. The program has never made sense in a number of years. It hasn't made sense.
David, I think
But
I think the difference you're pointing to is it used to make emotional sense.
Yeah, and I was looking. The first look at my watch came at 14 minutes in, and I thought, Jesus, another 52 minutes to go. And I just felt like the scenes in Unit were like it was like a sixth form. No, I'm not even going sixth form. A primary school drama play where there are people just standing and speaking. And they are speaking audible print, whippet shit, as Tom Baker would say. It absolutely was just talking for the sake of talking. The magic bloody doors all over them. I was watching a cross between Mr. Ben, a primary school Christmas play. I mean, God damn it! Even what's that horrible?
And David,
Nativity was
David.
better than that.
It's been less than 6 months, and don't get me wrong, I haven't committed all of Joy to the World to memory, every bit of the kind of lore of that. But I thought that they could only open a door where there was already a door.
Yes.
There's doors in the sky.
They could. there were just magic doors appearing, and I just thought, all right.
I had no idea who she was, but I did have a chuckle when Kate offered her a job, and I thought of Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny.
The first thing
That's
I did
right.
was think of Charlotte.
And that's
I was
Russell.
like, Charlotte's gonna love that one.
Never met you before, love. You're at the duff, but
That's right.
come on then, join
We've
us.
got a great maternity leave program here at Unit. We'll sort you out. The only person she hasn't offered a job to was bloody Conrad.
No, but even Conrad, like even his ending was just like, right, you're gone. Like I've never seen so
He's a
many...
cook now.
Yeah, he's gone to work for TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
And the Unit T lady goes down and constructs a zero room. I'm sitting there going, how in the world are they constructing a zero room?
Don't forget, she's only a year old.
Gary,
Yeah, but he was sent to work in
Lewisham.
Lewisham. He was sent to work in Lewisham, which is not a nice place to work. Sorry, people in Lewisham.
Charlotte mentioned earlier all the things on the checklist. All the things that they needed to take care of. You know what it seems they did? It seems they had their checklist, but then they filmed the checklist without bothering to turn the checklist into a script.
Yeah.
I think you could be right.
But also, you guys can help me here. Time Lords can't have kids.
Apparently not.
Is that true?
They're barren.
Well,
looks like. The Doctor seems to think it's true.
It's never been said before.
If you go to the New Adventures Lung Barrow, written by Mark Platt, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Loons.
To be fair, that's a terrible book, but yes, carry on.
It is a terrible book. Yeah, they established that in Gallifreyan society, what you have is that Time Lords are born, in inverted commas, from the looms. And that's how they appear. So, technically, that's Russell trying to hack. I don't use the term, David, don't use the term hack. It's Russell trying to take somebody else's or compliment somebody else's work, pay homage to it, let's just say, and make a mess of it.
But this is the same man who wrote his previous Doctors talking about being a father multiple times. And he's telling us they can't have kids.
And Shooty said he was a father. I'm sure he said he was a father.
Here's the thing: we can't.
I mean, to be fair, I've been a dad to children which I haven't fathered myself. But that's the problem with this version of Doctor Who. There's lots of sort of lines between you. I never get the impression we're being told all of the story. And sometimes I feel sorry for some of the actors that are saying this stuff. And that's the reason why when we see them, like you described that scene in Unit where people are just speaking at one another, those actors and actresses have no idea what they're saying to one another. Not a clue, because none of it makes any sense at all. And you can't invest in it. There's no truth in any of it. And that's the reason why Verada Sethu comes out of this so well, because she's the only one, in fairness, she's the only person given any truth to sell and any kind of anything worthwhile to invest in.
Actually, I thought Millie Gibson
dumb.
outacted everybody else on the screen.
She was very good. Yeah, I'd forgotten how good she can be. She was very good in this.
You know, but Russell, look, I mean, Russell can't even get his lore right. As we covered on Thursday, Omega is not a Time Lord. Go look at the 3 doctors. He gave them the power to become Time Lords. He himself, they keep calling him the first Time Lord. No. He says, oh, he was cast out from Gallifrey. No, Russell.
No. He certainly wasn't gagged and bound.
And then the doctor says, oh, he's our original sin. It's like, oh, stop with the nonsense, Russell.
He wasn't bound to the Underverse. He was in the end. He got blown up. And
he didn't have a corporeal form. When they were talking about retrieving Omega's body, I thought, well, okay, well, the guy didn't have a body. That was a pretty major plot point.
He was in a tomb.
But it's all right. He's now a massive skeleton head. So it's fine.
With claws.
Got our CGI monster, which
did they call him?
He wasn't a crab.
Did they call that? I know. I was waiting. Did they call him at one point the Mad Titan? I did expect him to come out.
Yeah,
the Mad God.
Sort of wrestler. I mean, it looked like it was a he looked like a catacomb bike from Anglia TV's Nightmare. That's how bad it looked. It was just sort of from the first couple of series of Nightmare.
I know he had about how much time on screen? Like 5 minutes at most.
If that.
And the doctor could just shoot him, and that's how he gets defeated.
And by the way, Russell, if you remember, this is not the only TARDIS in existence. Sorry, Russell. There's a little matter of the 14th Doctor in TARDIS in Donna's garden. So this is not the only
TARDIS.
He can't even remember his own stuff he comes up with.
Clara's got one as well, hasn't she? She's flying around from Game of Thrones.
With me.
There you go.
Yeah, with me.
I just want to know.
Not me,
but
look,
the biggest question of the whole
That's
episode.
A bit fine thing.
The biggest question of the whole episode is why in the world, how in the world did Mel ride her scooter all the way up to the top of the TARDIS tower? That is my biggest question here.
And right at the end, can I just say, I am certain the words of the person that we're going to come to, I'm sure her first words were "fuck hello."
Oh, hello.
Oh, I thought it was oh hello.
Well, you'll notice as Psychic Beak said in the chat, you notice in the credits, it did not say introducing you know who as the Doctor. It just says introducing her.
Introducing Billie Piper. This is an actress with a 20-year career, not least of all in this particular show. So how is it introducing Billie Piper? Is this just them trying to buy themselves some time while she scoffs some more chips? I don't know.
Look, I'm just relieved it's not Joe Martin. I'm really relieved it's not Joe Martin.
Coming in 2027.
I am not upset. I'm going to be forthwith here. I'm not upset it was Billie Piper. I kind of see it happening now, especially with this.
We'd have preferred Billy Connolly, surely. Billy Connolly.
Well, at least it wasn't fucking Jodie Whittaker again either. So that's good.
My God.
It's good to know that she's not changed, is it, in the performance levels?
I mean, I was braced because everything else in the rumours turned out to be true. So I thought, oh my God, we're going to see her, aren't we? And there she was, as irritating as ever. She did manage to run at one point without falling flat on her face. And she even managed, or some of the lines even made a sort of sense. But my God, that woman's irritating.
And they brought up the whole relationship with the companion again.
The relationship with the companion.
You got to bang it home, don't you, Russell? Yeah. I've got to say that to Yaz. I love you.
I have to think.
The minute
that entire era, I couldn't remember anybody from it.
The minute that Jodie came down the stairs and changed from the suit, which, as we discussed last week, kind of looked good on him, the bowler hat and everything.
Great.
The minute he changed from that into the skirt, I bowed out. I just thought, okay,
Gary, it's the future, mate.
I can't.
You'll be wearing one in a couple of years' time, pal. I have every faith. You'll join the revolution.
Okay, here's my promise to everybody watching. If I see Dan wearing one, then I'll go out and buy one.
Hey, I'll wear a kilt if we're all in. All right, okay, yeah. I will buy a kilt though. It will be a kilt because along my mother's side, I can wear the kilt of the Hunter
What
clan.
what gets me
So,
is obviously
yeah.
he must have had those clothes at his house
Yeah,
prepared.
he's there
So-
in a flash. Well, I think he just sort of wills them into
Yeah.
existence like any fashion victim. I think. I mean, I did wonder when he was doing the Flash Gordon thing and riding the sky cycle, whatever it was.
You're
When he
making
was
me
riding
relive
should
it.
have
around
had Queen-
London, I
they
thought,
should have
that's going to
Queen
be really
music for that
impractical
scene.
with that dress on there.
They really needed Queen music for that.
Lucky he had pants on, so it didn't go up. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, look, he's not a real Scotsman
Hey,
or true
I-
Scotsman. Is that what they call
Well,
it?
did
True
we-
Scotsman
Can
doesn't wear
I
anything out of
ask
the kilt?
now? What was the explanation about the bones everywhere?
I don't
We're
bloody
talking
know.
about the kilt. Are we still
You
talking
mean
about the
the
kilt?
dinos? You mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Well,
bone
not only that,
creatures.
but there was the bone palace and everything.
Bone creatures.
but
The
that's
bone- no,
TARDIS.
no, it was the bone beasts, and it was another one of those things that Russell T Davies does, where people start telling you. I think it was the Doctor starts explaining it, and at first you start listening, you think, "Okay, I'm with you," and then after about 10 seconds, your mind just snaps. You're talking bollocks.
Yeah. Russell just liked typing the words "bone beast" on his word processor about 100 times.
I think he probably did. I think
He
probably
likes
did.
the bones.
No, but Matt, I mean, apparently
He
it
loves
was
his
some kind of bleed over from the underverse, and he says that
Underpants.
they're supposed to, they're like attracted like moths to the little excited atoms from when the things, I don't know.
So
Nice try though, Gary. You lasted longer than it.
You
it
tried.
says to me on screen.
It's like no one still explained to me how it can be a bone castle, but anyway, in the sky.
Oh.
But anyway,
It's because he wanted a fancy set. Like he wanted, and to be fair, like the one thing I can say, the actual effects when they were on screen, like that scene with the beasts, like and units shooting them, like the actual set. Like David sort of said last week, I'm in the same camp for this week. Well done to you guys who did the effects on this.
You've done fantastic.
You're sort of the one thing that sort of got my attention, because before it was Durrani, but she disappeared within 15 minutes. So I didn't have that this time. So it was to say, it was quite impressive.
I half expected Omega to give a great big burp after he ate the Rani.
Yeah.
that would have been awesome.
It would have shook.
Not as good as mine.
You know, and then
No,
Belinda,
never as
once everything was getting settled, does Belinda say, "Oh, I really want to go see my family," which for every week for the last 8 weeks has been like pounding like a hammer into our brain, and then it's like, "Oh, let's go to Saturn." It's like, Belinda, don't you want to go see your family? And it's like,
But I've got a question, because this like legitimately confused me. So the Belinda that we saw like throughout, like when they were back in the unit tower and everything was resolved and Ruby was like having a nervous breakdown, that was a version of Belinda, but then he went back to another world. So that was another Belinda.
He used his regeneration energy to reset the universe by 1 degree, sorry. So that created a new timeline for Belinda, but because he wanted to bring Dr. Poppy back, because they suddenly remembered her when nobody could remember her, but Ruby did, but they couldn't explain why Ruby did, but then everybody did, and so he sacrificed himself to bring Dr. Poppy back, and everybody remembered
she's
her
human.
then.
write that down.
Yeah.
How do you think we're managing far? How do you think we're getting? We've been going for about 20 minutes. Do you think I'm still? I think I'm still sane.
Charlotte.
I got the impression, Charlotte, that it wasn't just like shifting to a new timeline. When he started remembering, all the scenes of her coming in, and he was like new memories. Now she was saying, "I got to get back to Poppy. I got to get back by 7:30." That wasn't what happened originally. So his memories were changing, right?
But I'm sure, didn't they say it was another world? It wasn't a timeline. I thought that's what I heard in the dialogue. That like it's alternate worlds or different worlds.
You'll have to go watch it again, Charlotte, and let us know.
Watch it again. Watch it again. My God, look, I don't think anybody's quite ready for that. Anybody got them in ready? Anybody? Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you all. Thanks for this picture, Dan. What did you think of the Anita scenes where she's going back in and like seeing the scene in Day of the Daleks and all of those scenes where they're inserting like Pertwee and
more montages.
They were beautifully done, but that's more stuff for us. I think that anybody within the casual audience that is daft enough to be watching this or may have caught it will just think, oh, here they go again. The more stuff that doesn't make sense. Who's that? What's going on?
Yeah.
Was it just a reason to get that rogue bloke in again? At least he didn't turn up. Jesus.
Maybe-
Small mercies.
I've now started calling them Dr. Flash. Because
I was also actually,
someone's
Dan,
like Flash?
yeah.
I was actually really, the other thing I was dreading besides the Susan thing, and as time went on and I was kind of watching the clock, I thought, wow, they're not going to do with Susan at all. I was actually really kind of dreading the early rumor, Dan, remember that was like 6-7 months ago that Mel was going to be killed in the finale?
Yes.
Yeah.
That went around for a little
well.
while. I was dreading that, and I'm glad that didn't.
That's a very old
sorry.
rumor. That's been around for a long, long time.
Once again, Mel was just there to go, oh, I know the Rani. That was her
Yeah.
only
At least
plot
She
At
point.
wasn't
least she
bad.
said
I thought she was good. Bonnie Langford was good in this.
At least she said something.
Bonnie,
Look, we've got lots of
actually-
comments there in the live chat. I think it is time to sort of break things up a little bit and to head over there and to start things off properly. People have been really patient, and we've it's all sort of coming out in the way that I think that we knew that it would. We're discussing Reality War, the season finale of this season of Doctor Who, the 2025 season. There's a lot to talk about between us. We're going to try and stay sane, stay in this time zone, not shift around too much, but we can't promise anything. There was a lot in that episode. None of it made sense. I'm sure with your help, we may make our way through, and we may even get to talk about the changing of the guard. There's a lot to talk about, and we want your comments too. So sit tight. Yeah, this is going to be rough. Type 40 live and raw, red raw, instant reaction editions of the live stream Doctor Who magazine show on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. We talk about all things Doctor Who, but with the special bonus edition, we're following directly after the global premiere there of 2025's season finale, The Reality War, and what a finale! What a mess! That was definitely a thing, wasn't it? I know. Shooty was in quite a lot of pain throughout it. I think so were the viewers. And then there she was, just like the rumors had been saying. We're going to talk about all of that as much as we can, get it all out, as well as all the little details from the Reality War with you there on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Get your comments in. Let's get started. Yeah, a new era of sorts, but under the same TARDIS console. We're safe under here for the time being, everybody. I don't know. Okay, so let's introduce the panel. You've heard us going on for the last half an hour, but let's do a proper introduction. Charlotte's here. Hey, hello, Charlotte. We've got Gary Akers over that side too. Matt Pott is here from the other side of the world and in mourning, as he says there. He hasn't come as a Sith.
Underworld.
No. We've got David Milling down there as well, boldly venturing back, all of us to bring our opinions, the hottest of takes there on that brand new special. I'd like to say it was full of surprises. It was depressingly predictable for something that was firstly so long.
Wait, Dan,
So
I have to ask before we go on. Are you just saying that everything we did for the last 27 minutes was the pre-credit sequence?
Yeah.
It made
Another
more
bolt-on.
sense, Gary. It made more
certainly
sense than the program.
That was us having a release.
I gotcha. Okay.
Combined therapy.
Now, blown the hatch. We've got lots of people who've been chipping in over there in the comments. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us go on. I think it's only right we do our duty and go see what they've got to say so far as best we can.
Welcome to Type 40.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Wow, there's a lot of people watching. We'll get to as many comments as we can. We'll take the pulse as we go along. Okay, so who've we got here? We've got Fly Highlands in. Why does Davies insist on bringing these back as completely different things to what they used to be?
Oh.
What is the point?
Yeah.
I think the idea is to take sort of somebody else's idea. I think he believes he can make them all better, Gary. I think he believes he can evolve something and just make it better and resonate.
You know what? I
deep
just
inside.
hope we get.
He
I
used to
just
have-
hope we. I hope we just
Well,
get
well,
a
Gary,
new.
he did used to have a knack for that sort of thing in his original era. I
Yeah.
think that's the point.
Yeah, no, you're right. In the when the Daleks and Cybermen came back, absolutely. And this is like I said, it's nods, but it's appropriating the name, but not the essence of what we really loved about the characters. You're exactly right. It's like he was able to do it with the Daleks, Cybermen, the Master. Who else in his original run? And it's all just. It's like nods
He was
now
so
without
measured.
substance.
He was so measured with the lore, and he had a way of breaking down the characters to such a way where people, not just sci-fi fans, but people who didn't watch this usual kind of stuff, who didn't have a head for fantasy, could kind of latch onto them and invest in some way. And that seems to have either completely deserted him, or he just doesn't think it's a priority anymore. We've got lots of people in the live chat, names I've never seen before, Charlotte, including Locke, who says, "Hello, yes, this is Dr. Marvel Universe Disney Gatwa." Thank you for joining us, Locke, even if you are cackling away. Calvin Mann is in the live chat and says, "I am really disappointed. I liked this season, but Russell T Davies just can't get his head out of the past. I grew up on Doctor Who and continue to watch, but Rose as the Doctor is such a hard sell. It's an impossible sell, realistically." So again, this is information that we received a while ago. We've been sitting on numerous things about this final episode, one of which was the appearance there of Billy Piper at the end, taking over the part, maybe it seems, from Shooty Gatwa, because we did see that was the Doctor. The Doctor regenerated into the form of Billy Piper. But you're quite right. On those end credits, it didn't say introducing Billy Piper as the Doctor, which is the customary end card, Matt.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show how adept Russell is now, or more inept. Just, he's bereft of any imagination whatsoever. And it just also goes to show how horribly wrong this whole experiment, as it has been called, has gone terribly wrong.
Julie Gardner's used that expression, so has Russell T Davies.
Yeah.
But I don't hold a grudge against Billy Piper. This is a decision that has been made by certain individuals. And obviously, whether it pans out or not is something that we'll have to wait for. And, I'm not excited for a Billy Piper.
Who would
if
be?
this was the finish of Doctor Who, I'm cool with that. Okay, he turned into Billy Piper. Okay, we didn't see the rest. I can't see this continuing with Billy Piper to get up to the heights that it once was, because obviously Shooty didn't work. I don't see this happening. I just don't see it happening. I'm still mulling over it. It's still it wasn't a shock to me. I was just like, okay, they did that.
Would she even be interested in taking this on for X years or whatever?
I can't see. I don't think that's even in the equation. As I understand it, this really was something that was thrown together in every sense of the word. They'd got two options. They weren't exactly left high and dry. There was a period where they knew that he was going. The Regeneration was filmed some time after, so they have had some period, but they needed to get somebody in place because Doctor Who couldn't depart the screen. That fade to black just isn't right for this show. It might have worked in the classic series, but it wouldn't work with the kind of the high paced Doctor Who of the 21st century. It's kind of a rod they built for their own back. There, Ian Scale says we love Billy, but maybe her agent could have advised her. I think she's helping out a bunch of friends in their time of need. I really do, because they had no lead and they really need one. She could be there for 1 or 2 specials. She could be there for 1 or 2 years. I don't think everything's up in the air so much. I mean, we do understand they have a potential window where they are looking to film further episodes of Doctor Who, a continuation of it, and it's not in far in the future as you'd think it is. But there's nothing actually commissioned as yet. It's still sort of ticking away. We'll probably come to some of that later on. There's similar things. Has she done it?
I was going to say, and the sad thing is, now we have had actors just be here for a special. We've had actors that are technically the Doctor, but they don't get a full series. We've had that with Joe. We had that with John Hurt. We've had it with Tennant for the specials. So actually, I can see her very easily not doing a full run just off the pattern we've had with other actors come in just to be the role for a very set amount of time and then they go. Like that sort of set.
Buy us some time, get us some headlines, lead this show in the way that David Tennant did for 3 episodes. Just hand over in some way and keep a question hanging in the air and make it look like this show is still alive and is still relevant, still matters to people. But the stable door is sort of long bolted, isn't it?
Dan, I actually honestly think this is just a plot by Character Options to take all of their old Rose figures and put them in new Doctor boxes and sell them again for like $59.99.
Do you know what though? I believe that Billy Piper would actually wear dresses at last. So, like for a doctor to wear dresses, whereas they're not. I don't think she'll be wearing pants all the time. She will actually look like a female. And
having said that, Matt, if you look at pictures of Jodie Whittaker before she took the part of the Doctor, she was very, very feminine. And during her time playing the Doctor, all of a sudden she was insisting how androgynous she was and how gender fluid she was, gender neutral. She was raised gender neutral. And it was a lot of old bollocks. Of course it was.
But she's more feminine though. Like Billy Piper is more feminine than that androgynous whatever she was. I'd never even.
And that was one of the things that I said at the time. If you're going to do the female Doctor, fully embrace that you've got a female in the role. Like that's because it won't sell otherwise. Like on a more sort of casual thing, people go, "Oh, the Doctor's a female now, but why are they dressed like that?"
No,
it doesn't work with men in dresses. Okay.
No, they're past that point now. This isn't just the gender swap gimmick. This isn't just any female. They've now had to they've now exhausted so many gimmicks with this. It's who it is. It's kind of stunt casting. More so than a gender swap. And that's how you can tell how irrelevant this show has become and how desperate they are.
Oh no, I completely agree with you. Billy in herself is a stunt. This is as soon as the rumours started to fly, to me, it just felt like this is Russell trying to get headlines. This is Russell and the show trying to sort of get everybody online in a fervour, get sort of the fans angry and get them upset. Because honestly, that's the thing.
I think it'll work.
This is some of the design of this choice, and it is very much. But then the problem is you can't have that. That won't sustain this show. It will give it a tiny bit of like life, if you want to use that term.
gauging. We're looking at. We have to look over at the comment section for a little while because we've got to gauge the reactions here from what everybody else is saying too. And there are people who say they've enjoyed this, who have had a good time with it. But I think there's a lot of people who are very confused. There are a lot of people who are concerned about the reappearance of Billie Piper in the show in any capacity. But I think the overriding impression is that it doesn't really matter who they cast as the Doctor as long as Russell T Davies is still there, because even though I'd say that was quite fast-paced, energetic in places, and imaginative even in places, but it was still by no means his best work, and it still seems very, very tired. Russell T Davies is gearing up for a massive wank over all these reactions right about now. I think he's probably watching. I think he's probably listening. I think he's waiting
Russell.
to see what people are
Thanks
saying.
for everything.
Russell. Yeah, cheers, pal. Merry bloody Christmas.
But Charlotte, you were just saying, for a quick second, Charlotte was saying, well, a lot of fans are kind of getting upset about Billie. Honestly, and I'm not just saying this to be funny, I actually just think it's all just too stupid to be worth getting upset about. You know what I mean? It's just so nonsensical and meaningless that, I can't find it in myself to actually be angry about it.
Well, Gary, me too. Gary, that was my reaction. A massive eye roll and whatever. I was just in that moment. Any investment I got in it just evaporated, and I was free. Just do whatever, go and do whatever.
Yeah, I think I have a suspicion. I was kind of getting myself prepared for Billie Piper to show up. I think when Jodie Whittaker showed up in the TARDIS, I think that was a reminder to the audience that, hey, he has been a woman. You've had two men so far.
It was a way of legitimizing that.
And I think that this was turning it around so that it was like, oh, it's not so bad. He's already been a woman. So when I make her into it, because this looks like it was a reshoot, okay? This looks like we're in trouble. We need to get a doctor in. We need to get Jodie Whittaker in to show that she was a woman.
I've been waiting.
Joe Martin.
Matt, the expression I would use is that it seemed, the last 20 minutes of it seemed kit bashed.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan, what does that mean?
There's a lot of people in the live chat. Some sort of smashed together to make it sort of resemble something else.
Like a model.
Yeah, like you said earlier on, I suppose. There's a lot of people in the live chat, I hate to say this, who are very happy that Ncuti Gatwa has left. He hasn't been in the role for that long. It's less than 2 years on screen, and there's not many people who are sad to see him go. Tom Haynes says, I just want to say, Ncuti did a good job as the first Black Doctor in its history. I found his emotional speech very emotional. So Tom claims that he was moved by that speech.
Did he cry in this?
I think that's quite a fair thing to say from Tom. I think that's a fair thing to say from Tom, because obviously different people get different things out of it, and I'm really pleased that Tom did find that emotional. And in another comment, he says that he wishes Ncuti all the best, but he also wishes Billie all the best. And I think that's I don't think anybody wishes anything else really. Honestly, because it's a nice thing to say. And one thing I did want to come back on, and you and Matt have alluded to it, and I think a few people in the chat have also, is because of the lateness and panic. I don't panic, but it probably was a bit panicked of the fact that the departure was so late and they had to get the reshoots in. Is that the editing of the Regeneration felt very bad, very stuck on with terrible. Billie appearing. It was not the sort of
David, it's the same thing. It looked overproduced, staged, and like it was almost completely computer animated. There was no one with him, so there was no connection with anybody or anything tangible. No. Just like Jodie Whittaker's Regeneration. I mean, people think I'm being sort of partisan about that because I hated the era so much. I thought the Regeneration sequence was awful because it was like this, overproduced, sort of dreamlike nonsense that nobody will remember in a few years time. And that kind of Christ-like imagery was back again that Russell T Davies is sort of in the original stint, he used to lean into that a lot.
I had huge. Sorry, Matt. I had huge issues with David Tennant's regeneration. That went on for bloody weeks, and the fact the whole thing is that we should see the Doctor regenerate with somebody else there present, because that's what gives you the shock. Like there's a horrendous one between. I don't mean horrendous as terms of quality, but the exceptionally traumatic one from Peter Davison to Colin Baker. Then you've got Matt Smith's there's
people all around him, and it does make a difference because they are the audience identification figure. They are watching just as we are watching, and to see their reaction is. We enjoy that kind of thing. There's more Shooty fans have turned up in the live chat. It's only fair to say the Music Turtle is here and says, I loved every minute of Shooty. Character options can go jump now. Says Domgo, what have they done?
More character options.
I tell you what, though, Mattel, who've just put out those Shooty Gatwi Barbies, they're not going to be very happy, are they?
Right.
Oh well.
I want to get. Hey, Domgo, I want to get a. Don't you want to get a Bone Omega as a character option figure?
Sean Kerr is watching in the live chat on YouTube and says, I've never seen such a pile of absolute drivel. We're doing that, but oh, gotcha. Yes, it's an insult to the name of Doctor Who. Sean, well, you're in safer company here now. We won't do anything none of us are going to sort of meta crisis or bi-generate at any time. Although I won't put it past Matt, come to think of it. He did burp last week or the week before.
I was going to say, I think it was a missed opportunity.
Operator error.
when to have Susan, not to have Susan at the end.
Yes.
I thought when he was going to turn around and say, hey, I can't do this alone, and then suddenly go back to Earth or whatever and catch up with Susan. But no, he went to a star. I don't know why. I didn't watch that episode, so I don't understand it. But
yeah, but do you know what they had? What's the name from the Time Hotel? Like
Anita.
Anita. She could have been there because at least they did have a connection. And those actors we said at the time did sort of work quite well on screen. But yeah, you've literally got him talking to a staff that's meant to be a character we saw in one Christmas special. And even half the episode she wasn't in it.
She was a hungry lady.
Like, there's no connection.
I did like the fact that they acknowledged the fact that Anita had been in love with him. Albeit, and that was a rare moment of subtlety from Modern Russell and his work. I like that a lot, and I like that actress a lot. The task in this one felt a lot more thankless. Clearly, she was always meant to be in it, but as I say, I felt it was a little too hokey. It was very convenient and just more mumbo jumbo, more magic doors, quick fixes, Gary, to Anita, navigate this plot.
Well, and Anita was, I've been keeping a track of things every week that's amazing, because that's Russell T Davies' favorite adjective this whole season. This week's amazing thing is Anita was amazing, and then the Doctor was called the most amazing man in the world. So every week something is amazing this season.
Told you, he's just got a Tom Bowler thing. He turns around, pulls the words out, and decides which he's going to use. Brian Lathe in the live chat says Billy is the Doctor, not Rose Tyler. Well, to be honest, Brian, they didn't say who has just appeared. I mean, I can't see who it can possibly be. But we do know. We do watch Doctor Who as well. But thank you for the comment, Brian. Buckle up, mate.
Could be Bad Wolf, mate.
She could be the Watcher.
Says, I am so sorry, true Whovians, to do this to you, but some of us have no choice. We cannot work with those who support this Doctor Who rubbish. So I don't know who you mean by true Whovians, who you classify as true Whovians. But I think that I've said this in another video, dedicated Doctor Who fans have suffered enough and placed so much faith in not this production team.
Don't call us Whovians.
But the previous one and the one before that as well. It's past a joke now. There's only so much anybody can take.
Disabled people.
I did all this homework learning about Omega just for that. That finale was such a letdown. Yeah, anybody who would have gone back and watched the Three Doctors and Arc of Infinity to learn more about that character, Gary, they may as well have not bothered.
Yeah.
It was just.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jacob.
It was quite well realised, I thought. And some of the ideas could have been interesting if there had been an actual plot behind them. But realistically, it was just another bogeyman that may have been in the show before or might not have done. It didn't really matter to people like such as Jacob here, who's been good enough to go back and find the early stuff.
Well, and Jacob, as I said at the very end of Thursday's show, go back, if you haven't done it, go back and read the Target novelization of The Three Doctors, which is one of the best Target novels that was ever done.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, when the door when the Omega door opened and the little claw came out, I honestly was sitting there going, here comes the crab. Here comes the crab.
I was as well. Especially when it was a kind of claw. I thought, oh, fucking hell, here we go. King Dot 2 is in the live chat. What's happened to King Dot 1? I wonder if they will somehow retcon this with it being revealed that this is actually Rose and the Doctor got teleported elsewhere. Well, I think that anything's possible. I think they're doing this to buy themselves some time. Whatever happens, whatever's filmed and broadcast next, it will be undoubtedly led by Billie Piper. But I think they're hedging their bets as to who should actually be playing. For all intents and purposes, though, she's the lead of this show. We saw Ncuti Gatwa regenerate into her. Therefore, for the time being at least, she's the Doctor. Maybe they're waiting to see how we all react to it or they all react to it, the normies. And if anybody buys it, if the press get behind it, maybe they'll stick with it. I don't know. I don't think they're thinking beyond about 3 weeks into the future at the moment. The brand is in such a crisis.
Next week, we're going to hear that Noel Clarke has been cast as her companion.
I doubt it.
Get Noel when the door appeared right at the beginning to get the Doctor out, that silly cliffhanger. Do you remember when he was on the balcony hurtling towards the whatever it was there? I thought that was going to be the squareness gun, and I expected Captain Jack to step out of it, in his empty child regalia. So I was genuinely, the only real surprise in it, proper surprise, was the appearance of Anita. I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah.
To be fair, I thought Big Ted or Little Ted was going to come out the magic window door.
Yeah.
Or Jemima.
It's the only. I think Big Ted is the only sort of BBC presenter from the 70s who they could still get back on telly.
Humpty. Don't ask them about Humpty Dumpty.
The door was meaningless to me, says Ian Scales. You haven't missed much.
Yes.
You haven't missed much.
Yes,
we have surely Billie Piper is going to be a placeholder, says Andrew Wright, regenerating at the start of the first episode of the new series. We don't know. They don't know.
That's what David was.
Look, there's no accounting for taste. Ewan said, I liked the appearance of Jodie Whittaker. Ewan, you do you, mate.
Yeah,
those are fighting words, Ewan.
I'm being good. This time. Because we've endured. I do feel that we've endured this episode of Doctor Who rather than watched it. 65 minutes, Charlotte, and it really did drag in places. I should have been rolling with every punch and sort of oohing and ahhing with every kind of blockbuster swing, because it did have that kind of low-rent blockbuster feel that the original era had. And I do wonder if people watching in cinemas, because this has amazingly been in cinemas, anybody who's paid that 16 quid to go and see this in the cinema today, David, in Britain, and was it $20 in the States? Yeah. What kind of experience they would have had?
$33 in Australia.
Aside from a couple of moments that were a little bit Flash Gordon, it wasn't really that cinematic at all. Just as you said, Gary, lots of people sort of talking, saying stuff in back gardens and on rooftops and in strange sets or next to cots. So I think this would.
And I just want to say that if you are one of the 10 people who went to see this in the cinemas, please let us know in the chat.
Think of all the Maltesers you've got to pick up. God.
Yeah, you'd have fun with this. I think the problem was,
Charlotte.
I think the problem was you had to be invested in all these characters on screen to sort of really sort of go with this plot. The fact that because you can tell he was trying to do that sort of Journey's End thing of everybody's together. We've got Mel, we've got her.
Yeah.
And it was trying. But the difference was, back in 2005 run, he built up all those companions, all those family members. So it did sort of feel like this lovely, warm sort of family. And they even had that line when I cringed, when they were like to the Doctor, oh, we're all your children. So you could tell that's what Russell was trying to do. But the problem is he's not done the hard work. He's not done the actual legwork with these characters for me to sort of have that attachment. And then you've got, like you said, if you're not connecting with your characters on screen, he's eating up lore within like every 5 minutes he can possibly.
Yeah.
He's having big returns, and then within 10 minutes, if I'm being kind, these big returns, the Rani, Omega, Gallifrey, the idea of Time Lords coming back. All of these massive concepts, which could just have a whole episode in themselves, were crammed into this. And also you had Poppy, which was meant to be then this big through line of, oh, Poppy's real, I've got to save Poppy. And I'm like, Russell, this is a character which I saw in one episode last series, and I've seen her in one episode this series.
I can't even work out if we've seen the actress before playing the same character, the very, very young actress, but it does seem that it's not actually the same character after all. That it's like an echo or a whisper of a character from another time and play. None of it. Did they, as I said before, did they just find a child? Did they just find an infant actress who would look in the right direction, had good timing, was of the right temperament? Think, okay, we can work with that baby again, because she was very cute. But you know, so am I. I haven't been in Doctor Who.
And also, I'm sorry, the Rani looks like a complete and utter idiot now. He's made her look stupid because she brings Omega back and it's her big old plan, and then she's like, oh, and she even gets the Doctor in it for a second to sort of go, yes, let's see how this goes. Okay, this is all clever idea, you two, let's see what happens. And when within 2 minutes of her magic plan happening, which we've had all this setup for, she just gets eaten.
Yeah, she's like an extra in Jurassic Park. You know, she's the extra that gets eaten.
It made me think about Lord Farquhar in Shrek. At the end, eaten by the dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
It was this sort of like almost comedy moment. And then in the back of your head, you're going, this is Omega. This is the classic villain, which is so nuanced.
The dragon.
She's got so many layers, which was played beautifully in classic. And he's just here to sort of make the Rani disappear. And then a Doctor, like I said earlier, just can get the Vindicator thing and just blast him in the face.
He said he looked up, didn't he? And he said, there's this gadget and it's got the power of 1,000,000 stars, and he blasts Omega full on in the mush with it. Oh, what am I watching now? We've got Tanindra Singh, who said Jodie was the best part of the episode, and why give the girl with the wheelchair girl, you mean Shirley, with retros, a running joke from the specials.
Oh, do you mean the whole Back to the Future thing?
No, the rocket.
I laughed out loud because I thought you obviously didn't have the effects budget, but it would have been funnier if we had seen it. It would have been like Super Grand, you know?
They should have added smoke. It reminded me of when Bessie did that in Battlefield, and the fans hated that then as well. So I do think it was a kind of nod back to 1989.
Yeah, the amount of cartoon logic in this episode, and like,
can we just
it's now gone completely like wacky cartoon. Nothing has to make sense, nothing has to have any weight plot wise. Things just happen. That was my resounding feeling from this.
Absolutely. And can we just have a moment of silence for the lack of Rose's iPad as well? That was tragic. not featured. I was quite upset about
I actually want to, and I'm not saying this to, you know, I am serious when I say this. Dan may boot me off the show after I say this. I actually do want to kind of not immediately dismiss, I guess, is it Tanindra's and Ewan's comment about Jodie, because I will say, and I wrote this in my notes, that even for like the 3 minutes that she was on, which was utterly useless, the story didn't need her. It was a stunt thing because. But it felt to me that, and I'm not going to go back and watch it again, it felt to me that she was playing a little bit different. And I'm going, is this because now Chibnall's not writing her anymore? It's Russell. It seemed like she felt more seriousness, a little bit more grounded or whatever. I thought maybe if she'd done in this last 3 minutes what she did in 3 years, things might have gone better. But she felt different to me.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this. I'm feeling generous. In that scene, bear in mind that I was, you know, for me, Jodie Whittaker turning up in this was the equivalent of finding blood in my stool. But that being said, That being said, in that 3-minute scene, she was the best that she's ever been as the Doctor.
Yes, I agree.
It's not saying much, but she was, and I think it's simply because the material was a bit better, and and the reason why she was there. It was partly, I think, Russell's kind of way of making it so we couldn't quarterize that element because it's contaminated this series. I think that was part of it. Yeah. But I also think that he was aware that for the Doctor to leave the screen and have no contact with any human being at all, if he can't regenerate, being huddled over by Nyssa, Tegan, and Adric, he's got to have some contact with someone. So they kind of, okay, who's free, who's available, who's not working? Definitely Jodie Whittaker. She's not going to be fucking working. So we'll get her in. Does she need to give her, like do her hair? Don't need to. No, just get her off the bus, whack her in the costume, hand her the script, and then give her a bus fare home. It's fine.
I mean, I could have done without her mooning. I could have done without her mooning over Shooty. But other than that, I thought it was a decent.
Well, someone's got to be sad for him, and if it can't be a companion, and as I say, you can see that they were giving themselves as much leeway there as they could. I reckon this probably did go down to the wire. Mask Maker says, I think Shooty was amazing as a healed Doctor, falling back into his old habits. This is kind of what you've spoken about a lot, Charlotte. But Russell T Davies just can't write anymore. The idea of this joyous incarnation of the Doctor going out and living life. You and I, we both really did think that was the right way for them to go back when the Church on Ruby Road screened, didn't we, Charlotte? But it fell by the wayside so quickly.
Well, he quickly had to have angst again, and he quickly had to be very sort of traumatized again, and Time War got brought up again, and all of that. So I think if whatever they do with Billy, that should be the way they take her, but we'll see.
Who knows? Uncompetitive. Is that uncompetitive? In the live chat says, I saw it in my cinema and they felt that it was well worth it. So I'm glad you've had a good night there. Yeah. You haven't gone straight to the pub either. That's good. Matt, hello, says Paul Richards. That's a hello just for you there from Shark Eye Man. And we've got we're not going to dig into the Jodie thing. If people like her, that's fine. They went to the cinema for this, says Bunch of Wallies. Well, different strokes, different folks.
Jodie was on the episode for 3 minutes. What about the other rest of the 63 minutes that we've just had to endure?
It was an irony to have the Rani escape, and the crazy one was eaten as fast food, says Sudden Booch. And 100T Mystic advises you'd enjoy this show if you didn't try and watch it with nostalgia in mind of how old Who was.
Well,
that's fine. But
if Russell didn't keep using nostalgia,
correct.
At this point as well, if he wants to use these names, and if he wants to go back to classic and other things, and he doesn't create his own creatures and monsters and villains, then we can judge it on the basis of that. They can be their own merits. We can say, look, this is a new creation, this is a new thing, let's judge it by itself. But Russell is going back again and again and again to the well of what's gone before. So how are we meant to not see it with nostalgia then, is my point to that.
I think Dan called it deconstruction last week.
Yes, Dan? I stand by that.
And I bet you that most of these people have started with the new series, and a lot of them haven't even looked at the old series. So they're going by what this whole current last 20 years has been, rather than what we've had, with the beautiful 40 years or 30 years that we had beforehand. 40 years before we had, beforehand.
Yeah. Skodo says, I saw it in the cinema. I kind of enjoyed it, but it was a bit mawkish and cheesy. Parts of it were kind of fun for a few minutes here and there, but it just kept stopping and starting. It didn't feel like it had any kind of shape at all. Anybody remotely interesting was sort of killed, like the Rani eaten halfway in. Don't get me wrong, more Anita Dobson's never going to be a bad thing. I do like her, and I like her as the Rani, but I would prefer to have seen it. But I would prefer to have seen it going forward with Archie Punjab. I think she's a better match for the character. She can physically do more. And I think she's more like Kate O'Mara as well. I suppose that's what I'm getting at.
Dan, did you ever think, Dan, on Thursday, 2 days ago, that we'd be talking about the Rani being eaten?
I thought about it since. No, I'm going to say. New Who hater said, Matt, Agatha is the most ridiculous New Who Doctor for me, followed by Whittaker, followed by Tennant. So
You
some
sure they're
people
not talking to someone else in the chat called Matt? Yes, they are. The silent wee music.
could be,
geek.
could be.
So
Could
don't
be.
confuse me.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Okay, why does Unit Tower have a helm with a big bloody steering wheel? I'm sorry, I've just got that right. Sorry, I just had a moment there. I do apologise.
That is another kind of fun, visual, cartoonish idea, though, which I'm not dead against.
I'm not dead against it,
but because it's all staffed by a bunch of all middle-aged women and one simp of a man.
I noticed that too. Even the soldiers were women. I was just like, well, no wonder Unit's not doing too well.
The only man allowed, Matt, in Unit Tower is Kate's boy toy.
What is the opposite? Yeah, total simp. What's the opposite? The female equivalent of a sausage fest, a sausage party. What would that be called?
No idea.
A clunge fest? I don't know.
A barbecue?
A taco tango? Tohendra Singh says, I watched this on iPlayer whilst also pretending to listen to the wife. If I'd have known it was this rubbish, I would have had a full-blown conversation with the wife instead. Comment of the night so far.
You must be very secure in your marriage, Tanindra, to post that on YouTube.
All I'm saying is
NGP's been to the cinema too, watched it with my kids, and we all loved it. There were some very good scenes in there, balanced out with story, maybe a communal watch. Maybe some people have enjoyed this. It's only fair to say there are people who've enjoyed this. And
I can understand how they could, because they've had 10 years of this. We've had 10 years of this storytelling.
Russell's promise to address by Regeneration. I mean, he talked about it, but I wouldn't say he addressed it. I mean, he said it was a way of the Time Lord, sort of life finding a way, more Jurassic Park stuff, life finding a way out of a genetic kind of cul-de-sac, I suppose, is what he's hinting at. But again, it just makes, I don't know. I mean, whatever there's successive production teams on this show now, this is Chibnall did this. They have this way of looking at Doctor Who lore and thinking they can improve it, thinking they can make it make some sort of sense. And filling in blanks that not only don't need filling in, but a lot of us don't view as blanks in the first place. There's stuff that in a week-to-week adventure serial for the whole family at tea time, nobody lingers on any of this stuff anyway. The only thing people are really interested in at all, in any way, shape or form, was, of course, Susan Foreman, and she didn't frigging turn up.
She's too busy down Waitrose.
I'm glad.
Find me, she said. Now, we do have pictures of Carol Ann Ford in a costume from something or another, because it was part of the Unleashed episode from last week and a special video that was up on the YouTube channel. So clearly she's filmed something else. Do we think? I mean, I don't know what to think.
You've got to remember, I did hear that there was that that scene that we were talking about that was retracted, the one where they're having a dance and that on the dance floor and that they've obviously shown the image for. Yeah, that one, Dan. I believe that there was a spoiler that people released that actually had that. Apparently, this is from the reshoot was obviously what we got, but apparently Susan was in this image looking from afar, very much like the Watcher was. Yeah,
was Susan the DJ in this scene?
That would have been great.
I know what Matt's talking about. Basically,
dropping some beats.
Somebody on Twitter who said they knew about how the episode ended, and they basically said there's been two endings shot. One is this, where they're all like celebrating, everything's happy, they're in the club sort of thing, and apparently Susan was going to be in the background as like a leading for series 3. That was meant to be the thing to sort of tide us over. And then the other one is, I think we've seen it tonight, and that's why it felt rushed and it came out of nowhere, because it was very blatantly a reshoot. It wasn't part of the plan.
I don't know if people are shocked by the departure of Shooter Gateway. Again, we told you this exclusively. We broke this story in February here on Type 40 Live in show 200. And my God, did we get call some names for that? I personally was called
especially
every name
on
under the sun.
YouTube as well. I'm expecting a few apologies.
Well, we don't talk about other content creators, you know that. But
No, not at all.
But people came after us over that, and everything that we've said has turned out to be true. I thought Shooty was going to stay at the end, but no, he's left. Says Ewan Erdley. I think a lot of people are going to probably be shocked by this. Tahindra adds, let's face it, Doctor Who is dead, a few years away. We all think that this show needs an extended period away from the screen, and sadly, Russell T Davies. The Return of the King, so we thought, is proven to have been, fool's gold, I think. What else is here? Yeah, we've got so many comments. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
They did not get rid of the Rani. They got rid of the Rani too easily. I agree. It was a punchline. It was a Wile E. Coyote moment.
Yeah.
And I like this show to be fun. Yeah, this version of the show that's been on since 2005, I like it doing that kind of thing. I like it to be broad and fast and bold and funny. It's the main reason why I hated the Chibnall era so much, apart from the gender swap gimmick. It was as boring as hell. There was none of that kind of stuff. So I do like that material. But it's got to be tethered to something that's affecting, and none of this was.
Yeah, and also, you don't do it to a character like the Rani. I think that's the undercurrent of it.
Really, no.
It's respect, and for me, Russell didn't have any respect for the Rani or Omega in this story.
No, it was just too easy.
Can I also add? Also, he didn't have respect for the Daleks as well, because when that's obviously, I don't know how the rights issues work, but obviously there would have been some payment for having that little clip with the Daleks in it.
I don't know if it's like if it's old footage. I'll be intrigued how that goes into the agreement, because that was clearly old footage they show.
Yeah, the last two episodes have been too heavy on flashbacks. Not as heavy as the recolorization. Not as much as the colorization of the original Dalek story that was done, but on the same irritating level. We shouldn't have to have flashbacks. The stories should be memorable enough for us not to have flashbacks.
Well, it should stand on its own right. It shouldn't
yeah,
have
that's
to
what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Do you remember this, which I didn't show you?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Charlotte, did you not enjoy seeing Matt Smith? I know how much you love him.
That was my moment for smiling, and then it stopped.
Yes,
it was. It was a nice moment.
Matt would have loved that.
There was a lot snuck in there, here and there, and obviously these are genuinely our instant reactions, the hottest of takes. I was going to say none of us have made notes. Amazingly, Gary has. I haven't made any notes at all.
I'm
still sort of turning it over in my head. And so there's lots of things that I'm sure that I didn't process, that I can't remember, that I half heard or didn't notice. There was bits where I was wincing so hard in case people turned up, stuff happened, that perhaps I missed little details here and there. And I probably will rewatch this at some point just to try and take it all in. I think that we've given you quite a lot so far to take in here. So it's time for a break. Oh, sorry, mate. The good news is, okay, so it is Doctor Who finale day. If you're disappointed there by Doctor Who proper, you may be pleased to learn there's another finale going on elsewhere across YouTube, and it's the work of our regular panelist Luke Walters and all his friends over at Cinescope Films. Go and check this out if you want a real season finale, and you won't be disappointed. Check in with the hooligans. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Billy, what have you done with all the Doctor Who stuff?
Mate, I keep telling you, will you stop going on about that stupid fake TV show?
Yeah, it's about my Doctor Who Season 7 Blu-ray collection. It was due to be delivered today. And what do you mean, what's Doctor Who? I've had this on pre-order since the artwork leaked.
Doctor Who is gone. And I don't just mean off iPlayer, I mean like properly gone.
Look, I don't know what this Doctor What is.
It's Doctor Who. And it's not fake, it's just gone. And now we've got to fix it.
Time is full of mysteries, but sometimes the answers are closer than you think.
Signs. Cryptic.
I know it sounds crazy, but I know I'm not imagining this. Something or someone has done this. And if you won't help me, I guess I'll just have to figure it out by myself.
Remember, the universe always has a way of bringing everyone together when they need it.
Look, mate, I haven't got time for your cryptic riddles, okay? I've got a gut feeling my best friend's in terrible danger and I need to find him.
I am giving you a front row seat to the end of Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, Gallifrey Base and Doctor Who edit still isn't back up, so...
Is that really a bad thing?
Welcome back to Type 40 Live here with a final bonus edition to go alongside season 2 of all new Doctor Who. The 2025 season finale has just premiered there globally, and we've been here with our hottest of takes. We've probably made more sense than the episode itself did if you're sat there or bereft of the loss of the 15th Doctor as played by Ncuti Gatwa. Maybe you've shed a tear. Maybe you've shed a tear or two. You can get over there and get your jollies with the Hooligans and their own season finale. That does look like a lot of fun. That's the end of Doctor Who from Cinescope Pictures, written and directed by our very own Luke Walters. Go and check that out and tell them that Type 40 sent you. Okay, I'm back here with the panel. We've got Charlotte, we've got Gary, we've got Matt, we've got David, we've got you in the live chat as well. I think we're not doing too badly so far. We've made it.
I have to say the Hooligans thing is amazing, and
Yes.
I watched it earlier today, and some of the music cues that are used are absolutely brilliant. There's one for all music anoraks from a Tom Baker story, from a couple of Tom Baker stories.
He's popped in the Easter eggs, hasn't he?
Yeah, brilliant, just brilliant.
It's superb stuff, and we've been doing everything we can to help promote it here at Type 40 Live. The promotion for Doctor Who this year, I think it's not been as good as usual. I think they've been charging by the word. This is very sparse. Watch Doctor. Can't even stretch to 3 words there for that. But I've been told there are billboards here and there. Whether that's worked any magic or not, I don't know. Obviously, we'll have the overnight ratings for this finale tomorrow. I don't think any of us have hopes that are too high, Charlotte.
No.
Usually when it comes to the end of a season, or historically, that would be a bit of a boom time for the show and that kind of shared viewing experience. Those days are long gone. Now I think the people who did watch this together or in close proximity are going to be getting together and comparing notes much in the same way that we are. Did any of that make sense to you? And sort of shrugging at one another.
I did see during the day, people were online talking about the whole, because it was not being put on iPlayer beforehand, so that might have generated a bit of people just watching it because of that, and it might just have been some people might have got, and I'm thinking more fans here, because the casuals, I think it's gone. It showed last week that they got a low overnight for the first part of your finale, so it'd be the fans left now. Maybe the rumour of Ncuti going might have got some people in this, but I just think the people who are going to be watching that are going to be the people with the most critical, because it is going to be the fans. And that was sort of, we've said this, it was just made no sense. Basic logic wasn't there.
I enjoyed little sequences of it. I thought some of the ideas were kind of fun. I thought some of the acting was sort of okay. But at the end of the day, the question I'm asking myself, Charlotte, is, was that just a load of old shit?
Well, the problem was, like you said, it felt like you were sort of this vignette style of storytelling that nothing really joined nicely. And if it did, it was by, like you said, Ncuti just was like, oh, I don't have a weapon, but I'm just going to step backwards and grab the weapon I need just in this moment that's behind me. Like, that's how Russell's writing now. He's contrivances, and it happens because the plot, the fact that we've literally now, and they referred to it as, he's got a magic door. Like, that shows that actually
that's where we are
core
now.
ideas of working hard, setting stuff up, and making it flow naturally. Russell doesn't care about that anymore as a writer. And I just think that the end bit with Billy, I think is going to just be the final, you said this and I agree with you, when the rumour was there, it's going to be the final kick in the teeth for the fans. Yeah. Because for me, Regeneration is meant to be about actual renewal and change, and the excitement of a regeneration is, let's see this new actor, which we don't have a lot of history with, that it's it's rebirth. That's what Regeneration is. So to get such a known face, such an important face, especially, I grew up in 2005, that's how I came to this show. Rose was my starting point with this show in lots of ways. That's how she was written, and it was done very well. Billy played her brilliantly. But because of how much of an impact she had in that run, whenever I see her face, I will see Rose. And they can't escape that. And I think, again, people are going to just see this as, was the Nova actors? Could you literally not audition anybody else in this country? Are we that bereft of talent?
I don't think they had the time.
I don't know that it's that, Charlotte. I think I interpret it as just a cynical marketing gimmick by Russell to keep the buzz going for the show.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like. Like Regeneration, once again, is being used.
Yeah, you're right.
As this sort of, look what we can do now, because we can. And like you said, and also Chris Eccleston spoke about this a couple of years ago, how Russell's very cliquey. He's got his group of friends, he's got his sort of peers, and he's very sort of happy to stay in that group. So it feels like, once again, he's just given a role to a friend. The fact that
I'd love to know what Chris Eccleston thinks of this.
Oh, that'd be a fun conversation, wouldn't it? But it's sort of,
you're doing what? He'll go. You're doing what?
No, but just to sort of put this into perspective, and this is what I was thinking as soon as the Billy rumour started to get traction. He's had 3 opportunities to cast Doctors, Russell.
Yeah.
He's had 3 goes at that, and he's brought back David Tennant and Billy Piper. That to me just shows he's got no interest of doing anything actually creative with this show now.
I believe Sorry, Charlotte.
It's almost like he's lost. It's almost like he's lost faith in the show itself, in the format, in the principle, and I do think that whether he's conscious of it or not, I think this amounts as a realization and an acceptance of the fact that the last couple of years has failed.
Yeah, so he's sort of gone running back to a shock, to this sort of idea of.
I believe it was Albert Einstein, and I know I've talked quite extensively with Charlotte about this privately. That I believe it was Albert Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah,
and I think this comes on the back of what Charlotte has just brilliantly said, in the fact that he keeps retreading the same. Not just the same themes for the stories, but the same sort of casting things, using it not just for actors, but for writers as well. We keep seeing writers being given commissions of whom don't have many, or if any, previous writing experience, writing.
Any clout, any suitability, any reliable track record to work on one of the biggest shows on TV, which is apparently trying to elevate its status back to being a global brand. I want to say hello to Jack, Nerd Den Jack, sometime Type 40 panelist. We haven't been able to line up the time zones over the last couple of months. We do hope to be materializing Jack again soon. We're going to have to get the magic door, get an eater in to sort it out, Jack. It's great to see you there. live chat on YouTube. Happy to have you with us. Yes, so together we have all experienced one way or another. Lots of people in the live chat have been to the cinema, to be fair. That's been in the cinema, but it's been on the iPlayer and Disney Plus and on BBC One. Everybody got this at the same time. The season finale, The Reality War, again by Russell T Davies. And the synopsis went, battle rages across the skies as the unholy trinity unleash their deadly ambition. Now you've seen it, all of this seems misrepresentative somehow. The Doctor, Belinda and Ruby have to risk everything in the quest to save one innocent life. So it turned out that the innocent life was Poppy's, presumably. I thought that those scenes, I like the stuff with Poppy. I just think, that why not seed it earlier in the year? So it's been on Disney Plus. Yeah. Some of us, Matt, have bought into Disney Plus just to see this. Good luck. Good luck with getting your money's worth out of that. Don't blame us. Blame this fella. So the scene that affected me the most, and even though I thought it was all pretty ridiculous and didn't make anything approaching sense, the idea that the tea lady went off to build a zero room in 20 minutes, that was, I'll accept the fact that she has. The idea that Belinda and Poppy would be in the zero room and they'd be locked inside that, and that moment where everybody went down to the whatever room that was, they opened the zero room, and there they both were safe and sound. I must admit, I did that. I did find that moving. I did, even though we don't really know this character. My heart was almost in my mouth, wanting that little girl to be safe. And the other moment I found affecting, there were only two moments. That was one. They both involve kids. I'm a big softie. I got lots of them myself. The other one was the moment where, again with Poppy, where the Doctor and Belinda are talking to one another about their child, passing that, is it a blanket between them? And Ruby notices the blanket getting smaller.
What was it? Was that what it was? So Ruby, so Poppy's then gone. She's gone, and Belinda doesn't know, won't know. So I found that very affecting. And then gradually, as that scene went on, Ncuti Gatwa was even subtle in that scene. I wouldn't say it was like watching a different bloke, but it was a nice moment. And so when he winked at Ruby as if to say, "Keep your mouth shut," I'm trying to protect Belinda. That scene was beautifully done. So to undo it, I thought, what a waste of the only moment of genuine pathos, not just in this episode, not just in the season, then in Ncuti Gatwa's entire era. A big missed opportunity, and that would have been something. That would have been a statement, a bold and brave thing to do, and it would have been a genuine evolution of the character of the Doctor, rather than all the bells and the whistles and the jumping and the flashing and the skirts and everything else. Because it's something that people can relate to. Whether people can relate to what we've been coming out with so far or not, I'd like to think they can. We've got all opinions here in the live chat, so many different views from across all the platforms. Thank you so much. A lot of people watching. This is one of our biggest ever audiences. And what was the Susan thing about? Asks Billy Shears. Ask Sergeant Pepper. Maybe he'll know. Marketing bait and switch.
We're going to bring you some more voices right now because we're going to materialize two more content creators from across YouTube this time. Long-time friends of the show. One guy who was on the very first episode, and another one who's been on in fits and starts here and there. I would imagine he's had lots to say already. His mouth is permanently running at a really, really fast rate, while the other one, I think we all just delight in hearing him lose it like no one else. Welcome back to the show. We've got Sfila Betkin, the rabbi from another planet, and the one, the only Bolstrek gentleman. Good evening.
Hello.
Or is it good day to you, Chris?
Hi.
So happy finale day, gents.
We're at the point right now where you go, oh, that's just sad.
What's made you sad, Rabbi? What's made you sad, mate?
No, I feel like let's say you had a nemesis in school and you see them and they're like homeless and crying on the street. You go, that's just sad, right? That's what Doctor Who is now.
Pissing themselves and
it's like shitting themselves publicly. It's just sad. It's just sad. And also the thing that actually really annoyed me more than any of the stupid stuff. Like, by the way, the subtle bit they tacked on is as subtle as the last two episodes of Invasion of Time. It's like handbrake turn for no apparent reason. Oh, now we're going to regenerate. Okay, but like that 20 was just tacked on from the whole thing about parenthood. They clearly had no idea what being a parent is anything like, and why they treat it this weird silent child who's 5 years old as if they're a newborn. Like Verada's like trying to schlep around, and no, human beings are not supposed to carry children that old and that big. That's why she's like falling under the weight of it.
Well, I just finished that, and I can only be here for. I'm only stopping in to say hi because they screwed up my whole schedule because they didn't drop this until like 2:00 my time. So if I'm going to get my video out, so I just finished it.
Yeah,
and I've thought very carefully about what my response is to that end we just had. So I'll just give you my thoughts. Okay, just a sec.
What the fuck was that?
Oh fuck! Oh Jesus Christ! Okay, that's.
Have you got some sedatives, Chris?
That's my summary.
So you had a good time, then, mate.
I don't know where you can get diazepam from in Canada, but I'd suggest you get some. But
it's cheap in Canada. Cheap.
That was what the. Oh wow, I'm dizzy. Yeah. I've been holding that in. So. So as I was saying on Twitter, well, I haven't recorded my voiceover yet. I'll be doing that tomorrow. Now that I just blew out my voice.
I can't wait.
So Dan, so I've been saying this for a while. Well, not what was the dumbest thing they could do. What were the two dumbest things they could do? So number one, spoilers if you haven't seen this Hellfire shit show. So number one, so Dr. Nasty made a comeback. I'm like, that was literally Chibs giving the audience the finger. I was gonna make a video on this other point, but I'm like, no, this is just too stupid. There's no way they would do this. This is the most moronic thing in the history of moronic things on TV. But at the end, they did it. So again, what is the dumbest thing they could have done? Billy Piper is now the Doctor. What? Yeah.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yep. Oh, we're not doing spoilers yet, or are we?
No.
Oh no,
we were talking earlier. We were talking earlier, Chris. Hey, buddy. By the way,
hey.
People were noting that the end credits did not say introducing Billy Piper as the Doctor like it's been doing for the last 20 years. It just says introducing Billy Piper.
Yeah, I think they're reading too much into that.
Okay.
Indicate honestly, I see her being the Doctor for a one-off special. She doesn't want to go schlepping around and making this TV show. She's every time she's interviewed, she said, "Yeah, I'll come back so that I can film outside my front door, and not go far and be around my kid." I think she's the Doctor for a Christmas special in a desperate attempt to get people to watch before and give them a little bit of breathing room to cast somebody they like as a Doctor.
I'm sure it'll go over just as well as the last time they brought back somebody from that era, because we all know who that happened. But I know who's really excited about this. I can tell just by looking at the faces that my friend from down under, Matt, is just over the moon with it. You look so excited for Dr. Rose.
Matt, are you happy that you took that to watch now?
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be totally honest here, Chris, because you haven't been on in the last hour and a half. I am indifferent to her being the Doctor, and it's also the fact that I kind of feel like this is the end of the era anyway. So I'm kind of like, okay, this was Russell's storyline from the get-go for the last 20 years. So I'm indifferent to it now. I don't feel any sort of like anger really or anything. I'm fine with it.
Oh no! I thought you'd be genuinely excited because I figured this would be right up your alley.
What are you saying?
this is me.
I haven't been into any of this gay stuff whatsoever for the last.
This is me being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Because you looked so happy when I logged in.
Oh no, I'm really happy to see you, Chris. I was kind of waiting for the explosion, and I'm glad it's happened now.
Well, yeah, it's so that's well, yeah. So I'm
there's still more to soak in, you know. There's still more to soak in.
Chris, Chris? I have to ask, what did you think about the Ronnie being eaten by the bone Omega?
I was too busy laughing at Omega because apparently he's Omega now, not Omega.
Yeah,
but,
nobody can pronounce that anymore.
Even Dr. Nutty didn't get it right, but he's an idiot. So to the so I call him Omega, or is he Omega, or the stupid looking CGI dinosaur. I was already laughing at that. Then that came up, and then I laughed at that. So I have to head off. There's another stream that I said I would say hi to. And then I've got to spend my night in hell, like literal hell, going over this multiple times so I can get my video out tomorrow. So I'm in for, like, this is gonna suck so bad. But here's what I'll say right now. Originally I said, good, this show is finally canceled. I can stop covering this.
No.
But if they're gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going until this thing is in the ground. So so this will not be the final episode of Bulls Trek Tears Apart Doctor Who, because apparently this show and my anger towards this show and my general hate and disgust will continue. So when Dr. Billy shows up, I'm going to be there. And there'll be maybe 15 people left watching by that point. And it's going to be awesome. So there you go. So more Bulls Trek. Screw this show. So I'm going to say goodbye.
Thanks for your company, Chris. We look forward to your video dropping as ever. It's always good to hear your voice and hear you laughing as well. It's not a sight of Bulls Trek that people get very often, so I feel very privileged that you brought that to Type 40 Live tonight.
Well, I finished the episode, and then I'm like, okay, so I loaded this up. I'm like, I'm gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh. I'm just gonna go inside. I'm gonna hold it in, and then I'm trying to think sad thoughts to bring myself down while I'm waiting to be brought in. I'm like, okay, I gotta laugh at this. So there you go. You got to hear an honest, delayed reaction. As you can tell, my voice really hurts. So
can I ask you, Chris?
Sure.
Were you aware of any of the rumors before you watched this episode?
Oh yeah, I thought they were completely ridiculous, and I figured there's no way they'd be that stupid. And they were that stupid. So I'm literally dumbfounded. Like, literally, no word of a lie. I was going to do a video this week on Billy Piper being cast as the Doctor, but I'm like, no, this is going to age very poorly because they're dumb. They're not that dumb. There's no way they're that dumb. And then they were that dumb. So I'm gonna go say hello to the other streamers.
You made Montage.
See you soon, Chris.
Thank you for coming on, Chris.
Oh, and
we're looking forward to your video. Yes,
I'm looking forward to next week because I've spent 8 weekends in absolute hell. So next week, hopefully we get to go back to our regular thing where even naming this show is banned, which will be fun.
We'll bring the fun. We're bringing the fun back, Chris. Don't you worry about that, mate. I'll speak to you soon. But thanks for coming in and for sharing, for bringing the laughter, which is something that I think we're going to remember for a long time. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Love to Frank.
I think he ruptured something.
Honestly, this episode was ranking awful moments. There's just so many.
Give us your lowdown. Give us your top 5.
I don't know. I mean, even Anita showing up pointlessly. I did think it was going to regenerate into Nicola Coughlan. I was like, oh God, no, not Nicola Coughlan, not Nicola Coughlan.
They even looked at the star, didn't they? They even had the Joy star.
Right, that's why I hope that might happen. And the unit building not flying, even though they say it's gonna fly, but now it's got a massive wheel on it and it turns around and it fights. It's like, this looks like a toy, right? This looks like you're trying to get people to buy
a G.I. Joe sort of playset thing. That kind of thing.
Again, Shooty trying to be a loving father. I'm sorry, he does not have the acting chops to pull that off. Like every time he's like smart. Okay, if you're a loving father, you're not smugly smiling, going, look at me. Oh, what I done. Oh, and that kid is weird, Like again, a 5-year-old standing there not talking.
I'm glad you said that because I've been keeping that in
kid
for
is
the longest
weird,
time.
Okay, again, anyone who's actually had kids understands how weird that kid is. Right, that's like a Damien child. You want to send it to a special school.
Are we talking about Are we talking about the little baby or the famous Captain Poppy?
But
I'm gonna have to mute.
Poppy,
Okay.
who's like, I know, she's like she's as convincing as a child as any of the kids from Please Sir, especially the movie.
But I think she is a child. To be fair to the actress, I think I'm pretty sure she's.
Yeah,
She's.
okay, but
It's
she's
not a
like
costume.
infant, and she was toted around like an infant.
True.
It's a child. Like, okay. Why was Belinda always holding her? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like that kid is too big to be.
She
Like, you
walked.
can tell.
Rabbi, what
Kids
did
are-
you think
kids
about
are
the scene? What did you think about the scene, Rabbi, where Shooty's descending the stairs in his suit, and by the time he gets down to the bottom, he's in the skirt?
Oh yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, look. What are you wearing? He's like, the future. No, you're not. Okay, because here's the truth that the queer world needs to understand. You are not going to reproduce. Not only that, the world is skewing massively right. Right? Look, Nigel Farage has destroyed the Tories. He's destroying Labour. Gen Z is breaking hard right. This is over. This is done. It's forget it. Right? And you want to be happy, be married and have children. Right? In this weird, awful, fake universe it's making, they're saying, oh, the way that most people achieve genuine happiness in life. That who are the happiest women in America right now? I only know it's one stat. It's women who are married with children, religious women married with children. Their happiness index is far higher than any.
I've seen those metrics. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like, and so this weird nightmare world where the weird troglodytes are somehow okay. If you're a purple-haired weirdo screaming that that I'm a Nazi, right, and you're in a wheelchair, I'm not reacting badly because you're in a wheelchair. I'm reacting badly because you're a purple-haired weirdo screaming I'm a Nazi. Okay, it's like that's why
there was a moment in this, Rabbi, and I do think that whilst this wasn't as politicized as others, and there wasn't as much sort of finger wagging, I do get the impression that Russell T Davies was dotting around the script here and there things that he views that are wisdom that actually don't really stand up to much thought or examination. But the moment that I thought could be interesting and that I wasn't expecting was when Ruby was speaking to Conrad and she said, she looked at him quite warmly and said, you gave people a wish, and you wanted to create a world where they would be happy.
That would have worked better in a show that wasn't a disaster. Right. Mm-hmm. Once you put a good moment in a show like you all said, Jodie coming back. Once you put a good moment in a show that's a disaster, that good moment becomes a disaster. It doesn't make the show good. Right. I'm glad that they tied themselves so intently to the Jodie era. Right. Because again, the whole thing's flushable. Forget it. It's not, and as we've seen by the ratings, and every other metric, no one's interested in this. No one's interested in Timeless Child. No one's. Oh, by the way, and Susan, the lack of Susan, Jodie showing up. Like, why would Jodie show up and not Carol Ann Ford? Like, really?
Now that this is setting in, because obviously we came, this had finished, and 5 or 10 minutes later we were here live. Now that this is setting in, that Susan wasn't in this, this is unforgivable.
Yeah, that tiny tease.
That unforgivableness. It's like his priorities are just completely wrong.
Yes.
Like that's what this like the tail end of this series has proven to me, that he wants to use the past to try and drag interest back because his stuff isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the show has to rely on its own stuff, and even then, like I said before, I really quite like Jonah as in this series. He was been one of the acting wise, he's been a highlight for me. But once again, he got even more watered down this episode.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the logic. Because when you were talking about that moment with him and Ruby, I agree, it was lovely acted, the two actors on screen. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised Russell sort of redeemed him a bit. I did not see that coming, if I'm going to be honest.
No. Because a few weeks ago, he was Satan.
Yeah,
Right.
but no, but...
Yeah.
Oh, he was, but back to that moment. So he says to Ruby, when she says, "Oh, you've actually created a nice world, people are happy," and he goes, "Well, I did it because of what the doctor said to me, that people want to be fed and have families," and I'm like, so you followed the advice of a bloke that in the same breath said, you're going to die in your 40s and you're going to die miserable and alone, and he was very happy with that, the doctor. It was the way it was written. The guy who's basically had this era of hating you when he was speaking to you, but you're going to take his advice and model your world on what he's told you.
Yeah.
Why would the character do that?
It doesn't
I
make
think you're looking
sense,
for
does it,
logic and
Charlotte?
reason where there is none.
Yeah.
There is no logic. I mean, honestly, I think the main motivation behind this episode was giving a finger to the fans that that rejected his Doctor Who. Right? I really do. I think that's going to be
I think there's clearly some sort of spite going on in there.
I'm starting.
There was no reason to bring Jodie in.
I just need to take some more comments here from the live chat. We've got Vanessa Law in the live chat, one of our many moderators there spending time here. Lord Thoth is here too. Darren M. Several of the moderators are in, keeping an eye on the live chat here on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. And Vanessa says, Omega, a bunch of bones. How ridiculous. It was all pretty ridiculous. To be honest. Garbage asks, did Billy have an audition? Just like Jodie and Shooty did, laughable. Well, to be fair, as I say, they've cast her because she's Billy Piper. They haven't cast her because she's a woman. They haven't cast her in connection with her identity and those immutable characteristics and all that kind of stuff and in line with DEI. They've cast her because she's Billy Piper and it's a gimmick and they need to make some sort of statement in the short term because this show's been running to the ground so deep now. New Who Hater says, who would have guessed this crap back in 2005 when we were all watching Rose, the first episode? Who would think that 20 years later we'd be gathering around here trying to make sense of something which should have been a fan's dream come true? Ewan is still going to give Jodie a chance as the Doctor. You know what, Ewan? I'm not going to shout you down for that. I just haven't got it in me. I'm worn down by this. I'm still rolling inside. My eyes that started rolling when I heard about this and when somebody did confirm to us, one of our sources confirmed, in fact, no, 3 of them. Our sources at Type 40 Live confirmed this to us nearly 2 weeks ago. My eyes have been rolling ever since. They haven't ever stopped. I don't think they're going to stop until this plays out, and that could be a very, very long time.
Christmas 2027 is the earliest. The earliest. Rabbi's always running away from opinions for his ideas. What?
I don't understand.
The rabbi always running away from opinions for his ideas.
That's not true.
Ooh. No, I'm very opinionated.
Okay, so, well, also, you're more than happy.
Opinionated. I don't think you understand what you're saying there.
Your platform, your channel, your show, you have more of an open forum to listen to other people's opinions than practically anybody I can think of. Gav B says the show isn't coming back, but if they did, they're aiming for going into the ratings talk. Again, we're a show about Doctor Who, not about Doctor Who ratings. But
I think it's coming back. Isn't it? It's coming back. I mean,
again, it's not confirmed yet. The intention is that Doctor Who is coming back. So, and Russell T Davies is still there. So anything you may have heard, we have a next to impeccable hit rate here at Type 40 Live. We don't just say this stuff. These are credible sources. Russell is still there. They've got every intention of making more of this, but the departure of Ncuti Gatwa was not originally part of the plan. People saying, did Boltrek have his meds handy?
Bye, Charlotte.
Okay, so let's just acknowledge. So, Charlotte, you're about to depart. Do you think you'll sleep well tonight after that and after this conversation?
Oh, well, that's the rumor was there, and I was sort of preparing to see Billy just off the rumor. So, and I think we'll have plenty of other streams and ways to talk about this because this is clearly not going to go away, the Billy stuff. But I said my main thing before. I think it's a step backwards. It's Russell not being able to look beyond his own past, his own era. And this could have been an actual rebirth and a restart again with a brand new actor on screen. Whether they were like a Matt at the beginning of their career, it could have been a brilliant platform. or it could have been like a Capaldi situation where a really well-known actor gets just this prime opportunity to really flex and show off what they can do. And I feel like he's just gone, and I'm not saying this about Billy, I'm saying about Russell here, he's gone for the most lazy stunt cast option.
It really is, isn't it?
Well, I think you can actually.
With that, and I do need to go.
You are right, Charlotte. I think also that it's it also shows that we're probably never ever going to get the white straight male again.
No.
Well, it depends. Let's see what happens.
The AI's coming, baby. It's nearly here.
Good night, Charlotte. Sleep well. We'll speak to you again in a couple of days. Take care. Bye bye. Yeah, the bone beasts are still loose.
Oh yeah, and they had no reason either. They're from creatures from the Underverse, and they actually reference the upside down in it. It's so sad. It just is sad. It's
and Russell referring to it doesn't invalidate the fact that it was still a ripoff. If you actually,
exactly. Yeah, how's that appropriating hashtag RIP Doctor Who? How's that going for you? Because I don't think you got complete control of that hashtag. That's just where I am right now.
And you know, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there kind of doing backflips about this because the whole Billy thing is going to fuel online speculation for the next 2.5 years. That's clear. But you know, at the core, if Russell T Davies is still there, it will all be worthless, basically, and that's the truth.
Well, Jodie fans are very excited. That's what I've noticed.
Oh, really? Again, haven't had time to look at social media. Don't know what anybody's latched onto or what they're saying yet. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody else has got to say, and obviously to commenting further. So yeah, Rabbi, I mean, you do a lot of deep dives. You know, you watch your episodes 2 or 3 times in the average week, don't you, before you sort of put them to rest. I did rewatch Wish World before this, thinking, well, there were things, and sure enough, there were things that I'd missed in that. But I'm glad I watched it again. It wasn't any more entertaining the first time, but there were, in all fairness, things that I'd missed about the little baby with the wishes and all that kind of thing. It's nothing of any real worth, but it did mean that when stuff started to, there was a few things that when they started to happen in this, I thought, oh, okay, that is how that works. It does make a sort of sense. But it's nowhere near good enough. Lots of people drifting in from the cinema as well. I see they obviously went to the pub after the cinema.
Oh, I got a live reaction from cinemas. It was like stunned silence, apparently.
Hey, Dan, this may be a stretch, but this is a serious kind of wondering. Do you think, knowing this was going to be in cinemas, that him including Jodie was an attempt to kind of recreate the kind of gasp moment when Tom Baker showed up in The Day of the Doctor? No, not that it's on the next level, but saying. Russell wanted that cinema moment.
I bet you're right. Oh my god, that's what I mean about this.
He wanted that cinema moment.
This is like cringe and embarrassing. No. There were so many bad. The Ronnie being eaten by Omega. That was a terrible moment.
Yeah,
they're never going to live that down.
Oh god,
it's a bit of Tim Burton, isn't it?
All this sea of terrible moments.
We've got comments coming thick and fast, everybody. Thank you so much. Matthew Pound has been to see it in the Flea Pit CD cinema. Is that the kind with the silver foil curtain? Could be.
I used to like being able to smoke in the cinemas.
Dan, I'm a bit interested on one point, and I'm not sure if people in the comments have mentioned this, but I'm not trying to direct people in the comments of this, but I'm just interested to know about this one thing that we've not mentioned already, about what people thought about the horrible idea of I think it was horrible idea of the biochip recalls.
Just more silliness.
I don't know. Was it just a plot? Was it just a plot device just to get people back?
Well, the script needed people who were at locations X, Y, and Z to be all at location B. Get them there as quick as possible.
I did have a bit of a laugh at that Shirley taking her friend along just to see her press a button so she can watch them shoot off.
Oh, God's sake!
There weren't many actual sort of proper bona fide highlights to this, but there are things that are probably going to stick in the memory for the wrong reasons. And the fact that the episode was 65 minutes and felt like about 3 hours didn't.
Yeah, and it didn't really.
help.
Again, it really didn't do much. By the way, this guy Duck in the chat saying how I said the Doctor is super gay. Yes, I stand by that.
Yeah,
right.
That
is his scarf. That is the defining aspect of it.
They do sell it very, very heavily. They do sell it very, very heavily on that. Did you miss his very first scene in the church on Ruby Road?
Even that chick that, she's supposed to be in love with him, the one with the magic door, and then she finds out that he's a bit of a minx. And then suddenly she realizes, so it's in your face. It's every single episode.
Yeah,
it's in your face.
It's not a subtle,
and it's not the
subtext to it, now is it? They say they're doing queer stories. They own it. There's no problem.
Exactly.
We've got
the other thing
more
that
comments.
You can have your doctor.
We need to get through some of these comments. People have been really good and really, really patient. I love Doctor Who, says TL Cole 91, watching on YouTube. I love Doctor Who, but with all the latest stuff, I'm struggling to stay awake. I have to drink Red Bull. Yeah, well, I think you do. You have to sort of hang on in there. I think that's the truth of the matter. Phil Johnson says that's 2 classic villains brought back as nasty CGI monsters. This one worked a lot better than the Sutek one, but it was on screen for a fraction of the time, and the idea wasn't fleshed out in any way. Therefore, it may as well. It's yet another one sort of pissed up the wall that people will forget came back because it was unrecognizable, completely unrecognizable.
Well, he didn't have an image, did he? He didn't have a form, did he? So that was the weird thing. It was like all of a sudden he can get his own forms back. He can get an image of himself back again, and it's a giant skull. Didn't make any sense.
I was
Megan
upset not
is-
to see Philip Roy's seal.
It's funny you should mention Phil. He's coming up in a moment as well.
Yeah.
We need a Christopher H. Bidme type of writer showrunner to bring Doctor Who back from the far too long fantasy magical land. I think look. Doctor Who is a fantasy show. It's not a science fiction show any more than it's a horror show or a comedy show. It is a fantasy show. That being said, we desperately need a different kind of showrunner with a different voice, with different tastes, who can really expand the show and evolve it and take it forward and have an idiosyncratic take on this universe in the same way Stephen Moffat did up to a point. But I agree, it was more fantasy stuff. Moffat's focus was always on plot rather than character. It's the reverse for Russell T Davies. But I agree with the principle. They need to find somebody to lead this show who just looks at it all very, very differently and puts the viewers first, thinks of the children, the family audience, and moves it forward like that. Worst piece of casting, according to Gary D. You're going to have to narrow it down, mate. There's several. So which one is the worst
Colonel
piece
Abraham.
of casting? There's Ducky. If you've come in here on some sort of vendetta, you can leave now. We won't be offended, but we won't be taking any more comments like that. Thank you very much. And Lorraine Sheridan says that biochips are evil. Again, just plot conveniences. To make things move along. I mean, you could say Russell did that before. People were angry at him for doing that in his original tenure when he used sort of Bluetooth headpieces and things like that. Generally speaking, I think it's harmless. But in a story like this, which was so saggy, I think, oh, well, why bother? Why? That's starting to wear me down.
Sorry, the rabbi's
That's the thing we did about every creative decision. You have to go, why? Like, what?
Yes.
Like what? Why is Omega a big bone monster now? Why?
Matthew Page asks,
why is
gagged and bound.
Gay?
Gagged and bound.
That really is a fundamental question. Why?
Gavin Graham.
Narcissism.
Gavin Graham mentions Murray Gold in the live chat. I have to admit the music to this one kind of passed me by a little bit. Was anybody struck by it in any way?
Nah.
I noticed it in one speaker.
He reused it a lot. He did his recycling of his normal stuff, but it was not as distracting. I wanted something to distract me. I really did, because I was clock watching at one point, at several points, but it was not as bombastically distracting as it had been before.
I think he was trying to do his best to make us feel sad that Jodie was leaving, but I was actually too happy to be affected by it.
Yeah,
Rose
there was
Kurt?
no pathos to this at all.
I
mean,
felt
that's
sorry.
one scene where Poppy disappeared. But
I felt sorry for
Jodie.
Jodie.
Who cared of him?
Wait,
No one cared.
Matt, what?
I felt sorry for Jodie because I thought you had a lot of potential, and you've been let down. I think as well, and so I felt I did have a slight feeling of, you know, like I think you got a bit of a rough end deal, especially with the way that you were directed and the way that your characters were written. I think that you had a lot of potential that just faded away over 2 years, and I think that how many months did it take to produce? So, you know, because these were done back to back, so, you know, this is last year old news. You know, he's moved on, and I just feel that, you know, obviously that I think that when they did the reshoots, that scene in with Poppy and that in the house was the reshoot.
Those were the reshoots. Yeah, they were filmed. That was filmed at the middle of February, I believe.
Yeah. So I know. Obviously, this is. It's not the way it was supposed to have ended. Maybe Poppy was not supposed to exist. You know, and would have been better for it. To be honest, I wish she hadn't been in that.
The way it's supposed to end was there supposed to be a party, I think, at the unit headquarters, and the Blinks was the DJ.
There's a photo of it.
That was the original.
That was the original. Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
This photo was only released a couple of days ago, but Disney Plus even had it as their header for the whole show.
I gotta say, Grad looks incredible in that picture. I'm more the gayness of Jodie is not detracting from the hotness of Rada. That's how hot she is.
Megan Newell says, I think Murray Gold really needs to retire now. He spent the entire episode musically saying, look, you really need to care, pay attention to this. Now, initially, Murray Gold had said that he was only going to stay for the tenure of the 15th Doctor. That's now over. But he was interviewed a week or two ago. I think he was given some sort of award, a Lifetime Achievement Award by the DWAS. And he said he was happy to remain with the show for as long as they want him because it's Doctor Who. So maybe he's had a change of heart, and maybe he will be there when the show, when the series, when the IP resumes in whatever form with whoever leading it. But I personally think that, they do need to move on. They need to bring in new people. Maybe change it up in the way the classic series did in the J&T years, and different composers. Gary, I mean, I don't know if that'd be too expensive, but I think it would help sort of make each episode feel a little different rather than having a house style, which I think is kind of holding the show back now.
You know, I think we're going to need somebody with a new vision, and we'll get like new music to accompany that new vision. I think Russell's just so locked on to just repeating all of the same things, the plots, the music, the characters, and everything. And he's using Murray as a safety net because he knows he's out of ideas. I do want to quickly say that the one thing that I've actually been kind of thinking about as we've been talking the last 2 hours, I'm starting to think that the whole Time Lords are sterile thing is Russell's attempt to nullify and negate the grandfather-granddaughter relationship with Susan, and basically saying that's not physically possible, so she could never have been his granddaughter, which it's like, I'm not going to I am certain that's where he's going with this, to reframe that entire relationship. I don't know why he thinks that's what the series wants. I don't know how he thinks that this is something that the fans need unpicking. Is it a personal thing of his? I don't know. Stretching back to, I don't know if this is something that's always niggled away at him. I don't know.
He could always get Billy Piper pregnant, couldn't he?
I don't know. I don't care. I just want him to leave this character alone. And Caroline Ford.
Dan, can I ask you, how long do you think Billy Piper will be the Doctor for?
I have no idea. My guess would be that she's going to do it for a couple of specials to tide it over until they secure somebody to lead it, until they have a commission, until they have another global streaming home. Because Disney Plus, again, I maintain, we have an impeccable, next to impeccable hit rate here at Type 40 Live. The information that we bring you, we don't broadcast it unless we're pretty certain Disney Plus are no longer involved. As of time of recording, they are not in negotiations. The BBC are looking for an alternative global streaming home. So they need something
Amazon
to buy them.
is highly rumored.
They need something to buy them time, but they realise that that's not going to serve the British audience, the people who are invested in the show over multiple generations for 60 years. They know Doctor Who can't really afford to disappear. So never mind disappear without a lead apparently in place. So it's a quick fix. So I would imagine she's not going to be there for very long at all. But it doesn't really matter. The damage is done. I think that she'll always be there in that line. I mean, I don't know. It's so early to say.
Listen,
and I would imagine
if it wasn't Billy, it'll be Catherine Tate.
I would imagine, Rabbi, that since we've been on live now, because there's been a Doctor Who Unleashed screen, there's probably been new publicity pictures put out, and maybe a few statements made as well. So, we're responding very much to the episode. People in the live chat put a few things in, but we are responding to the episode itself. We've got to have all the time in the world to get to everything else. But I'm enjoying the speculation, Rabbi, and that question, I think that's the question everybody's asking right now, regardless of what they thought about the other 64 minutes.
Again, and the trouble is, everything else is garbage too.
For the most part.
Really just what like Rusty, they was trying to do bad Marvel. It's not even modeled on good Marvel. This is like the Eternals. It's just stop. The Bone Monsters, they were stupid. Nothing worked. Nothing was successful. I am sorry. Anyway, listen, I have to go to bed. I am cream cracker, ladies and gentlemen. So,
obviously, Rabbi, I think the biggest shame of all is that Ncuti's gone after only 2 seasons. We never got to see him in full Red Indian headdress after all.
That is true. Didn't face a Dalek, didn't face a Cyberman. Much like this whole era, fake Doctor Who.
But thank you for dropping by, Rabbi. If people want your extended deep dives into this episode and all the other ones, they can find you over on YouTube and social media, can't they? Give them a plug.
I am at what's my address? It's YouTube / Rabbi from Another Planet, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
it is. There's only one Rabbi from Another Planet.
Do a search for Rabbi from Another Planet. There can't be more than 2 of me. Right? That would just be weird.
The universe couldn't stand it, mate.
It couldn't get the universe without the Rabbi. Man, I tell you, it was really shit. That's what I'm like. I'm like, well, they didn't end the character, which is what I thought they were going to do. Yeah, and they didn't do anything with Susan, which was just unforgivable. Again, it was awful. Unforgivably awful. The only place I could go with it. And it's opened the door for misery for the next couple of years as we wait and see what stupid idea they come up with next. Joy to the world. Anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to head off into the sunset.
Thank you, mate. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye-bye, Rabbi.
Take care. For those of us that remain, it's time for another break here on Type 40 Live. These are our instant reactions and hottest of takes to the season finale for the 2025 run of All New Doctor Who. We've seen one Doctor leave, another reappear. Maybe there's so much to take in. We've seen the seal of Omega burst. My seal is about to burst as well. Time for another break. I'm going, and you can catch this fantastic trailer to some real Doctor Who coming your way soon.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the 4th dimension? Have you? But one day... Yes.
I'm the Doctor. Maybe not the one you were thinking of. But I am the Doctor. I'm the Doctor, by the way. And you are?
It's Jenny.
You're a very intriguing man, Doctor.
And then he sells the company to a Mr. Scorpion? Don't get many of those in the phone book.
It's so...
Alien?
I mean, it looks a bit tight. Have I told you I'm claustrophobic?
Just concentrate on every step.
Yeah, but it's not steps we're taking, we're crawling.
That's a somewhat valid point.
You're both conscious, but paralyzed from the chest down. Yes. Within the month, the harvest will begin.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook with this bonus reaction edition to the season finale here, the reality war. We've had a big dose of reality and we've served it directly at them there, who've been responsible for all of this. Still no elephant fighting a Dalek. Yeah, they're going to be getting my email later. But we're huddled around the console here to compare thoughts and to as a sort of support group as well, I think, gentlemen, after we've just viewed all of that 65 minutes that's played havoc with my mental synapses, I'm just pleased I've had your company and everybody in the live chat there across the platforms to help me through. Heaven knows how I'll sleep tonight, David. I hate to think.
I don't. I really don't know which position you sleep in, Dan. But I hope you sleep well. But I've just messaged Charlotte, and I've just said, actually, to come to think of it, I don't think I'm all right with this. this whole thing tonight.
I think there'll be a lot of Doctor Who fans who'll be thinking that way and perhaps getting it on a T-shirt first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I sleep well tonight because basically I feel like I've had a giant sedative for that 65 minutes.
You know, after that trailer, I wish that Jodie had regenerated into Philip Roy. That would have been
I did think of
awesome.
saying that, yeah. He would have
Fabulous.
been good. I'd have loved to have seen Philip's face cheerily pop up and go, hello. That would have been
cool. Yeah, they should have done that. Phil is in the live chat. Philip Roy, he says, I've just booked the location for the final shoot mid-May. There's a scale model scene to add. Looking forward to seeing the end results. Phil, very best of luck as always.
It's going to be great.
We have, you've got lots more comments as well. Thank you, everybody. Ronnie, new villains in the future. Says Sudden Booch. I think you'd be on the source as well. I don't understand that, but you do. You do. Yeah. I'm sure. What else is here? That theme always gets the hair standing up. Says New Who hater. Yeah,
they're talking about they're talking about Phil's
theme. Yeah. Again, we just talk about Murray Gold, and then you hear, and you know, I generally speaking, I'm fond of Murray Gold's stuff. I think he's very talented, but it is time that he moves on. Doctor Who needs to be refreshed in every way, shape, or form. And Paul Richards notes that trailer is more impressive than the current crap. Or it's the past crap now. They're going to cook up some more crap for us. I've no doubt. We'll see where that turns up in the near future. Yeah, and everybody is mentioning, Gary, just like you are, the fact that Billy is not billed as the Doctor in those end titles, but a regeneration is a regeneration. Those captions are on screen. Have you noticed now that TV titles and credits, they go quicker than ever? So you haven't really got a chance to read them. It's like, oh, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? So right. they don't hang around long enough for people to clock it. So I think only really the most geeky of us are going to notice that or certainly sort of turn it over in their heads enough to join the dots and think about what they're not saying rather than what they are and what they're showing us.
I mean, Billie Piper herself is going to have to come out with some kind of promo tosh or statement or something. It can't just be Russell.
She already has.
Oh, she did.
I would imagine
Okay.
she already has. So I look forward to reading up on that when we're back with the early edition of Type 40 Live in just 2 days' time, everybody. So please like this video if you haven't already. A lot of people watching. This is one of our most popular shows. A lot of people watching. Please hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell to get the notifications about future editions of Type 40 Live and our podcasts and extras and all those other things too. But we've been talking about this. This was the Reality War. This year's season finale, the end of a season, end of an era. Another Doctor's gone bye-bye. We think we've got a new one, maybe. And that does seem to be also the end for the fair Belinda. Oh dear. You know what? This is the biggest shame. This is the biggest shame for me. But at least we'll still have our moments. We've still got our moments.
"24/7, 24/7."
You wish.
But yeah, that is that. After all, the season, the era, that TARDIS team, very, very short-lived. What next? Who, how, and when? We'll find out when you find out. But obviously, Type 40 Live will be waiting, listening, and continuing to bring you more of the same. Our brand of news, views, nostalgia, banter, and dad jokes, generally speaking, here at Type 40 Live. Always involving you guys there in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. The comment section is wide open too for you to get stuck in and leave us some more of your thoughts. I would imagine you're just the same as we are, kind of numb and addled and wondering if we saw what we think we saw. Gary's made some notes. I look forward to hearing more of those bits of wisdom that you've managed to squirrel away there, Gary.
You know, I didn't intend on starting out doing that, but as the minutes went on, I thought, I'm not going to remember all the stupid things I'm seeing. So that's when I picked up a pen and started
fill the time
making notes.
Obviously, we won't just be marking the end of the season, but the end of a whole Doctor's era as well. Ncuti Gatwa departing as the lead of Doctor Who after really quite a short period of time. They were still billing him as the new Doctor, and the role, which should be a star-making role, I'd say that nobody in Britain knows who Ncuti Gatwa is now any more than they did when he first took the role. What this means for his career going forward, I don't know. That's something else we'll be picking up on as time continues. What a shame. I think what a shame. Let us know what you think of that. Of course, reach out to us through our social media. That's on Instagram and X, as always, at Type 40 Doctor Who. You can join us in the Type 40 Facebook group where there's already a review thread up and running about the season finale. You can dip into the various review threads about earlier episodes too, and let us know what you think. All opinions are welcome, as always, but you're free to pick a fight if you want, as long as you observe good conduct and Queensberry rules at all times. So you've heard what we think. We really do want to know what you think. So all those avenues are open. You can leave us a message too on SpeakPipe, or your own review, a question, a prediction for what's going to happen in the future, any kind of feedback concerning not just Doctor Who, but what we've got on here at Type 40 Live and Type 40 as well. Earlier editions of the live stream are up, plastered all over this channel there in the playlist, regular editions. So we have our news coverage, our deep dives, our celebrations of things such as the Blu-ray releases, or marking special big birthdays from Doctor Who legends behind of the camera or in front of the camera. We do it all here at Type 40 Live. Dive into those playlists and get cracking. There's the Type 40 podcast too across the podcatcher of your choice. There's the Spotifys and the Audibles. We're all over all of those places. Or you can get the whole back catalogue at our home feed at type40.podbean.com. But this is Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. We've made it through the end of a season. He got a home, didn't he? Got a home, or she got herself home. She's need to sort it out all on her own.
Yeah, just leave it to me, mate. I'll sort it out. Just carry on with what you're doing, and I'll get myself home. All right.
I'll miss the skirt.
No, you won't.
No, you won't.
You've ordered one.
Matt, you still in mourning or was hanging out with your mates? Cheered you up a little?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out for a walk soon, so I'm gonna go outside. It's just come light, so I'm just gonna go for a walk and try and forget at the moment. But look, I'm still mulling over the whole thing. It's like lucky for me, I dipped out, although because I did dip out, there was a lot of that stuff squashed into this episode that I didn't understand. So, maybe I'll find out about the maybe it'll make sense. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just
it's a lot of maybes.
Yeah,
I do want to give another really quick shout out again to Millie Gibson. Millie, you outacted everybody in the entire episode tonight.
It was great.
So, great job.
And
was anyone else looking at the clock when this show was going on?
Several times, Matt. Several times.
I'm afraid so.
Because I'm thinking, I remember going about halfway through, and I was like, "So you've pretty much wrapped everything all up. So why is there still another half hour to this?"
I've also said that Anita Dobson wasn't very well served with the last episode as well.
Well, it doesn't make any sense.
If we see the Ronnie again, it'll be her, right?
Yeah, but she can't regenerate, can she? She can't regenerate.
No, you're right. Unless it cancels itself out when the.
Because as they said, David Tennant dies if anything happens to him.
All of this. I mean,
yeah, they don't think. They don't think. See, this is what I'm saying. You've got all this stuff to look at to think that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But then again, the whole 10 years hasn't made sense. So I'm fine.
So yes, let's have one last look in the live chat. Cheer up, lads, and a big black heart from the new Who hater. Paul Richards says we need sedation after this garbage. And Steve and Jeannie Frith say, I can't believe Omega was a big, scary blur CGI skull monster. And Ezra Goldstein has his own message for the big man himself, for Russell T. Davies.
Paul Thomas I read something else in that.
Paul Thomas Ashworth is just glad it's all over. Right. And Stephen Braddock says, I've enjoyed tonight's show far more than tonight's Doctor Who. And praise redacted, but thank you very much for that comment and for your company as always, Stephen. I've got laughing emojis. I think so. Yeah, we've put smiles on some faces. I'd like to think so. And it's a good night from Peter Harrington and a good night from them. Oh my God. Steve and Jeannie.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Steve and Jeannie recommend The Librarians, the next chapter.
Absolutely.
That show looks great.
Yes, absolutely.
Looks a bit Doctor Who-ish as well. There's a guy with lapels wearing a cravat and holding some sort of sonic device.
Oh, yeah. No, there's always, even on the original series, there was a ton of Doctor Who references. Dan, I was just wondering, boy, this is the end of a journey. The live reaction show. You're going to have to retire the therapy couch we've been on for the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, we've got an after show to the after show where we all
slightly stained.
We all sit there hitting gongs and banging drums and going
That's right.
Until we all nod off. Yeah. What a frightening thought. Yes, thank you guys for your company. Yeah, well, firstly, thanks to Charlotte Shields. She had to pop off a little while ago. She was as great company as ever. She spots the things that I certainly don't. But don't tell her that I said that, okay? There was the Rabbi from Another Planet, of course, the one and only Svila Betkin, and the mighty Bolstrek, two Who-tube legends, controversial, very loud voices, who came in there with their opinions as well to spend just a little time with us. Grateful for those two gentlemen materializing for however long they can as well. You can catch up with them on their channels for their various different takes too. Gary, obviously you've got a bit more of the day to play with than we have in Britain, myself and David. It's the kind of time of night where we go for a hot drink, for a warm beverage, and maybe get the cat in, all that kind of thing. But you've got the rest of the day to mull it over. Are you going to rewatch?
I actually think I will.
Oh, are you going to write a novel? this time round.
Look, if Chris is having to watch this 3 or 4 times for his reviews, then the least I can do is watch it twice.
Yeah.
The Reality War round 2. I'm going to have to rewatch this as well because I suspect there probably is a fair amount of stuff that I missed. I'm glad I didn't go to the cinema, but it's good to see so many comments from people who did go and, in all fairness, did seem to have a good time. Maybe it was the company that you had. I don't know if it's something that you went to see with your family. I'm glad you had a good time with it, and never any judgment. That sincerely, all views are welcome here, and we do value your opinions, your experiences, and it's very generous of you to spend some time with us and to share them. Matt, obviously, it's already Sunday morning for you. You're waking up a brand new day, the first day of a new era in Doctor Who history. But you're going for a walk.
Take a while.
And then you're going to see how you feel.
Yeah, I'm definitely not rewatching this episode. That's for sure.
I think you've done well, Matt.
I've done enough. Although I will probably look at that trailer that they've just released because that wasn't on the Disney Plus. That new War.
Yes, there is a trailer for the spin-off out there. Again, there's so many things that we could talk about. Some things had to wait, but I'm looking forward to talking about all of that with all of you, and you too, and the rest of them as well, with Charlotte and Simon and Sarah and Shah and Luke and Anthony and everybody else on Type 40 Live. You want to find out what they've got to say, and one by one they'll be making their way back to the show over the next few days, so you don't want to miss that. That's our mix here of the best in news, views, nostalgia, discussions and banter every Monday and Thursday from 8 p.m. UK time, so keep watching the channel for more of that. I've been Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, and this is Type 40 Live, where we always have the time if you have the space. How do we feel about all of this and him and her? I think we've barely scratched the surface. There's going to be a lot more to say, but for now, that's it for our final bonus instant reaction show for this season of Doctor Who. Thank you so much for your company, and we'll see you in the comments. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Shooty.